it live!
Fuck it, we'll do it
I'm
live!
doing it live!
Fuck it! Oh.
Hey guys, welcome to our... Oh, Angus left!
Well, I can't be seen without a drink.
Hey guys, this was supposed... Where's the camera? Hi! This was supposed to be a private chat, and I did it wrong because I'm an idiot. So, everyone who is still actually watching this, someone is listening to this. Who's listening to this?
Not me.
Who always fucks up these things?
You? I think we're the only ones left now. Because I have it up on mine. Let me see. No, it says 7 viewers, so...
Wow, 7 people want to watch us before the 7 hours tomorrow.
Don't say 7 hours, dude.
It's got to be 7 hours of of dolphins trying to rape people. It's got to be something really bad.
Who's listening to it? Now I hear myself again.
It's not me.
I've got a mute.
It's not me, is it? Oh, it is me. That's me. That was me. I'm sorry.
That's quite
I
naughty.
did it.
You jerk.
I can't help it. So, to the 7 people who are watching this, 3 of which are probably us. Oh, there we go. Frankenstein just wrote, thanks for scaring the shit out of me. No problem, Frankenstein077. Tell you what, this is going to be the super secret question show where you can ask the 3 of us whatever question you want down in the thingy-madoober.
Thingy-madoober.
Oh, no.
A dashing young Scotsman left a comment or two there as well.
Oh, did they?
Hmm.
That's you. The others are you starting soon? And no, it's not an all-nighter. Fine.
I don't know.
We want to chat. The rest of the comments are us. God, we're narcissists.
I love me.
I love me too. I'd make out with a mirror of me.
Hey, me. What are you doing? I'm being me. How sexy of you. Kisses
You know,
mirror.
if that had been the tucking scene from Silence of the Lambs, it would have lost a lot of impact. Instead of I would fuck me, it's hi me.
Hello, me. Meet the real me.
Let's do makeouts together.
Mega death, by the way.
There's lipstick on the mirror.
I'm not sure I like this beer or not.
Are you chewing it?
Give me too good.
Yeah,
Nom, nom,
chunky beer is not good for you.
You two don't appreciate the fine art of beer tasting.
The fine art of chunky beer.
The fine art. I know. We don't have a leather couch to recline on.
Does it have curdled milk in it?
That's called breakfast in Scotland.
Oh, jeez. I finished off my beer. Now I'm gonna sober up. Actually, I'm not even gonna talk. I had 1 beer.
What?
Huh? I said I only had 1 beer, so can't get drunk on
Jason
that.
complaining about hearing himself speak. All that's missing was a puppet on each hand. That is very true. But then again, the rest of the time I have puppets on my hands, so...
We should just do a show where it's nothing but the 3 characters talking the whole time.
Oh, so you want to have... Wait.
No. Not a very public spanking of, but just where we turn it on maybe a random channel, one of our channels every once in a while where... Hey, it's Super Gay Satan! How are you doing?
I think that would probably get us thrown off.
I don't know,
we haven't gotten thrown off yet.
That enjoy your show.
Okay, here's the first question. It comes from Wrath of Destruction. And he asks, if God was real, then who created God? That's an excellent question. And I will speak in the role of a creationist and say God is eternal and no one needed to create him.
That's a logical fallacy, sir.
I don't know what logic is, and I definitely don't know what fallacy means. Does that have to do with the phallus?
Okay, so do you believe that the universe required a creator?
Yes.
Okay, but you don't believe that God needed a creator.
No.
So you do believe that some things do not require a creator.
One thing.
But you don't believe the universe didn't require a creator.
Yes. I am the
Okay.
most awesome creationist apologist ever.
Oh my goodness, and I'm just the best atheist apologist ever. I didn't even explain what type of fucking fallacy that is. That's special pleading.
I just want to say, it's not the first question.
Oh, is there another question in there? I missed
Yeah.
it. What's the first?
077. How does
Oh,
cold
how does
fusion
cold
work?
fusion work?
It's
It
fission.
doesn't.
That's you don't know that. There could be cold fusion someplace or somehows.
It's
Maybe.
fission. That's what he's asking for. If he was asking for fusion, he'd have spelled fusion.
Take regular fusion and put it in the refrigerator.
How does cold fusion work? If I knew that, I'd be rich.
Cold fusion is a process in which hydrogen is extracted from water, but
Yeah.
it's not done. The only other way to do that would be, I guess, fission, which is the opposite. That's the kind you don't want. That's the kind that you make bombs with, I think. And then cold fusion is you extract the hydrogen from water, and the only waste product is the oxygen, and then you burn the hydrogen for fuel, and it's clean burning, so it doesn't create carbon.
And wait,
There's
we
no
can't
carbon
we
in it.
can't do that yet?
No.
No.
That's horrible, man. We've got water everywhere.
Well, that's the whole point about cold fusion is the idea that if we could perfect cold fusion, you could run there's so much hydrogen in a bucket of water that you could power a city with it or something like that.
Yeah, but the problem is it takes more energy to split the water than it does to you get out of it. Just like,
Oh, fucking entropy. God damn it.
I mean, everyone assumes that because we breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide, that somehow we're actually breaking up
No, that's
oxygen, and that's not true. We're not doing that. So a lot of people say, well, if we can do that with our bodies, how come we just can't remove the hydrogen from water? And
it's what is that? Dehydration synthesis reaction or hydrolysis? Hydrolysis would be the one.
hydrolysis.
Yeah. No, it's the molecular bonds that rip them away. It's just chemistry happening. I mean, if they could perfect a way of doing that without a body, then I guess, but you would still require quite a bit of energy for it to happen. That's why we have to eat. So.
Mm-hmm. But the whole idea behind cold fusion is that it takes almost no energy and definitely no heat energy in order for that to happen. It's one of those things that's theoretically possible, but finding a way to do it, it may be wind up being one of those things that's only theoretically possible and not actually physically possible.
You know what I just thought of? I was just thinking about like a gigantic meat farm, that does this, like a live growing flesh that is constantly pulling hydrogen out of water. I know it sounds disgusting and impossible, but
we took a cow and we changed it so that he can extract hydrogen from water.
Well, if it works.
Yeah, if it works. But here's a better way to capture that energy. Just feed them grass and capture the methane out of their butts.
Oh, geez, why would we want to do that?
Because then we could use the methane.
No, I'm being sarcastic.
but it's not
okay.
clean fuel. Unfortunately, methane isn't a clean fuel.
What is the waste product from burning methane?
If I remember right, this
Carbon
is good.
monoxide, right?
Does it produce hydrocarbons?
I think it does.
Produces carbon, I think. Yeah, I'd have to go back to my old chemistry notes, and that's at least 14 years out of date.
Well, if we were doing this 14 years ago, we'd be way ahead of the curve.
Well, I'm doing it now, so I'm just about to throw myself to the wolves and all the smart fucking 18-year-olds that are.
I hate chemistry. I remember taking chemistry in high school, and I was like, well, so much for me being a scientist. because it was a basic requirement no matter what. Because I originally wanted to be a paleontologist,
Like,
and I was
oh
like,
wow.
oh no, there's math. That's gonna be bad.
That I was told, and I talked to a person who works at the college I'm gonna go to. I said I'm scared of math, and he said if you can weather through it with C's and get A's and everything else, then you're fine. And
Yeah.
he was like, "What'd you get in pre-calc?" I said a B minus, and he was like, "You're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
Don't worry about it."
There was a question to answer that I'm going to answer because I think I have the best one to answer this. If, from Wrath of Destruction, if God had sweet sex with Mary to conceive Jesus, wouldn't that mean he was inbred? Allow me to get into character.
If he had, huh?
If he was in bed, wouldn't she
Inbred.
have to be stoned to death at that point
No,
too?
no, no. The basically the question is if God had sex with Mary to conceive Jesus, wouldn't that mean that he was inbred?
I don't know what you mean there,
Oh,
Wrath of
God.
Destruction.
Oh,
I
Jesus.
just
You
got
always
no
pretend you don't know what you're talking about.
life is gonna tell me what the real answer is. But I don't think I was inbred. I may play the banjo with my 6 fingers, but I don't think I was inbred.
This is
No.
that stupid magic sperm thing again.
He was born with a tail. I think that the question there is about the corporeal and incorporeal nature of God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like they want both. They want him to be both corporeal and non-corporeal. I mean, for example, he's everywhere and nowhere at the same time.
Which
But the burnt
every
offerings that are given to him, he enjoys the smell of, which implies that he has a nose with an olfactory system.
He also has a cock.
Well, that's
Yeah.
implied, but I mean,
Yeah.
if God is everywhere at one moment, then you're giving God a blowjob every time you open your mouth,
He's in your cells. He's in your mind. He's in
yeah.
my ass.
sucking you up the ass.
He
And
is.
no matter how many times I wash it, I can't get him out of my whites.
Damn skid marks. Jesus, get out of my underwear.
Let's see, Cristobal Munoz. Jason, is your room the laundry room? Is that your space in the house? That's the computer space in the house. You have to figure this is like this is very public spanking unplugged. How's that? Does that work?
All right.
So you get to see Angus horizontally.
Sorry.
You're never going to see. Yeah, be quiet. You're never going to see Finite Atticus ever. I'm fairly certain that he is a living JPEG.
No, you will
And-
see me eventually.
oh
If I get pissed off enough about something, then you know what? I'll be like, so this is my first rant.
God!
Before I start, I'm going to stick a banana in my ass, and then
Please don't.
I'm going to pour hot oil all over my balls and ass.
This is. I think you have the wrong idea of what a rant is,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Atticus. That's not a rant. That's called going fucking insane on the internet.
Oh, okay. All right.
You watch that. You have
That
to
would
look
probably get more views than any of my videos.
Oh yeah, until they tore it down and kicked you off YouTube forever.
But it would end up on Pornhub. I want
I don't
revenue
want to
from
host these
Pornhub.
videos from Pornhub.
want
I think the people at Pornhub would be very upset to see 3 guys tearing apart videos.
I don't know, take off our shirts or something.
then
Says
it'd be
the
a very-
living JPEG. Sure.
And then it would be a case of, I heard there was butt fingering on the show. I don't see it.
Yeah,
Ratings-
where is it? I want my money back that I didn't pay for this.
We're all smoking. That's it, right there.
Is that what it is?
Because we're smoking butts. So, la 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 la, not funny.
Excuse me. Excuse me again. I am so sorry.
Is
I'm
inside.
practicing saying gesundheit instead of God bless you. Because I hate that word.
Because, yeah.
Actually, I don't care.
Stuart That was the guy at the end of Jason's video today. I was the one drinking coffee and smoking a hookah, which surprisingly I'm doing right now. Thanks, Jason, for all your work and everything. I love what you do. I love you too, Stuart Gold.
Hey, did I tell
But
you?
to me, you're always going to be hookah caffeine boy.
Somebody just played fanboy with you. So the other night I was watching the Skeptic Fence show, right? And I was just kind of in the chat room, and Dark Matter was on, and so
really?
I added them on Skype, and I didn't think he was going to put me in the room, and he did.
Oh, nice of him. That was nice.
Yeah. So I was just sitting there, kind of, putting input in every few seconds, and then at the end I was like, so can I play fanboy here for a second and tell Dark Matter how much I love him and thank him because what he does, he's awesome? And he was like, okay, thank you. So essentially I acted like an ass, but I hope he was like, oh, well, I appreciate it when people like what I do. He must hear that all the time, but how often does somebody come on a show and they bring up, we're talking about, like, gun control and shit like that, and then all of a sudden I'm like, so can I devolve into a little pussy and tell you how much I like you? Yeah, it was cool though.
That's nice.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy, and the conversation was straight and good, and it was good. Anyway.
Where did Angus go?
He's there. I see him.
Is he?
Or a very public.
Oh, there he is. Okay. No, I was looking at the wrong screen. Look who's here!
Sir Skeptic!
He's a man, and he's got a metal head.
And he's muted.
Why is he muted?
He just wanted to come in, and he's gonna insult us and run away.
Oh, okay. Oh wait, he's not muted now.
Well, I don't need to run away. I mean, say it right to your face.
Oh, okay, all right. What shitty thing did I do now?
Look how nicely he's dressed for this.
Oh my goodness.
I feel like a slob. I'm wearing my old Star Wars T-shirt. For all you guys know, I don't even have pants on.
Well, I'm just wearing a wife beater and underwear, so.
No, you're wearing a tuxedo and you have a metal head.
Oh, right, my cartoon.
I'm constantly breathing through a gas mask.
You're another one of them living JPEGs.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Mine are PNGs.
I don't care.
Oh, PNGs, man.
I like the way they overlay, nice and crisp.
Huh.
I'm sorry, I can't do Oswald. You got to do Oswald.
I can't do Oswald while it's on because then I'll blow. It's one of those puppet rules.
The fourth wall, man. You can't break the fourth wall.
Yeah, I know, but you can do Yahweh though.
He's in the puppet circle, man.
I can't. Oh, that's right, because of the voice I do for Yahweh.
So super sexy Satan is calling Yahweh.
I love the smell of burning flesh.
Oh, you're such an asshole.
It makes me happy up in the heaven place.
I was scampering along the earth a minute ago, and now you want me to torture Job.
Go back and scamper. It's fun. I like to watch you scamper.
But
Can
Job
you eat a carrot while you do it too?
Job has boils all over its head.
I know. I gave them to him. Weren't they cool?
No, I gave them to him at your behest. Don't you even remember?
Watch this. I'm going to kill all of his kids. Watch this. There, all of his kids are dead now.
You're such a jerk. His livestock's dead too.
But look at him. He still loves me. I'm such an awesome god. I'm killing it over his
saying he's worthless.
I don't care. I made him say that. I make everything happen. I made you say that just now, even though you're me.
I mean, Southern Jesus needs to make a comment at this point.
That's weird if if God is mentally deficient, then how did he have a southern backwoods son?
I don't know, Dad. I just heard my mama said that you visited her one night, and she wasn't
Tell you
quite
what.
happy to see you.
How many people do we have? How many people do we have here? 1 second.
I can't afford that. I know you're mentally retarded, but
I'm gonna invite someone else in, guys. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Okay, cool. I just got to get back to our other discussion. Where is it? So I can find the link and then maybe move that over there and then do this. And ping, I made the universe. Okay, 1 second.
And
That's
God
okay. You need to
farted.
start asking people to guest. I'm starting to run out of people.
What? You told me that you were having trouble squeezing me into your tight schedule. That was a bluff, wasn't it?
No, actually.
He
no.
didn't say schedule, but it was tight, whatever he said. Thank you.
You know,
You're all weak.
Angus and I were talking about boozies earlier tonight. I had to go.
When isn't he talking about booze?
I know. I had to go get a bottle of whiskey, strong Canadian whiskey.
There
I'm
you
not a
go.
fan of stuff.
Hello.
There she is, and she's not. We can't hear her, and it's so dark where she is.
Oh yes.
I invited a vampire, apparently.
Unmute her.
Yahweh.
Unmute her.
You know what? You know what, guys? You know what I think we need to do?
Sorry about that.
That's
Oh,
okay.
there you go.
I think
I didn't
Friday we need to get dressed up as the characters we portray and do a live show as those characters.
So much body paint.
Okay, so I'm hoping that not. I was hoping to make this announcement earlier, but
Yes.
I might as well make it now.
All right.
So this entire outfit I have, I actually have a physical manifestation of this outfit that I've been waiting to portray. I just haven't really figured out the right venue to do
Aren't
it.
you afraid that when you put that helmet on, this is what it's going to sound like?
Yeah, I'm worried.
Because I have that.
No,
I
you-
actually have that helmet. I have that helmet.
Can I
Yeah.
can I do something?
What?
No.
Quick, Kristen. Oh, I'm gonna
Of course, yes. Give.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna do it real quick. Oh my God, I'm in a room with cool people.
Oh, she's gonna have a geek out.
Thanks
I'm
for
having a fangirl moment. I do
We've
this
known each
when
other
I-
too long for you. We've
No,
talked
I
on the
know, I know.
phone.
But there's 2 new people in here, and I fangirl over everybody on the internet. Damn it.
Yeah.
Did you bring
Angus
wet
is
naps?
pretty cool.
seriously.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, why not?
I'm just this tool smoking on a couch.
Oh, you smoke too? Cool.
Yeah.
I am a smoker, but I have to smoke outside because we
Well,
live in an apartment building.
Jason's just e-smoking.
Yeah, I mean, this is just steam.
For the new
He's
age.
smoking.
Mhm.
You
Oh, I have a
pansy.
cigar. I'll be back in a second. I gotta get my cigar now.
No, you're not a pansy. I'm sorry, that was mean.
I don't mind. Pansies are pretty and soft and wonderful. I wish I was a pansy. I'd
Well,
love
I
to be
think
one.
you're wonderful.
I'm actually now sad that I'm not a pansy. Living
Aw,
out
well-
the silhouette.
Well, you're a pansy in my heart.
Yay! I'm gonna put that on a T-shirt. How come the comments are not? Oh, there we go.
I was gonna check comments, but I guess not. That's usually my job.
I am Bob said best Yahweh ever. Thank you, Bob.
Now that's gonna be your only character.
It's all dark in here, and I'm wearing a dark shirt, and I'm like
your whole
I am a
universe is black.
pale, pasty person. Well, Tinky's asleep, and I don't want to bother him with turning the
I
lights
want to
on.
bother him. Wake up, Tinky! This is your subconscious talking.
No, he's got to sleep so we can do Zumba tomorrow and punish ourselves
Do
because we're
that
mad.
dirty thing with her that she just said. What is it?
What, Zumba?
Isn't that like Isn't that the robot that cleans your carpet?
No, it's some sort of exercise thing they do at the Y. We signed up, and I was like, we should do Zumba because they have that tomorrow. And Tinky's like, Zumba is torture. Do you really want to do that? And I was
Zumba
like,
is torture.
and I was like, I will torture myself with you because I'm totally making you go. And he was all like, me.
Have you shown Armored Skeptic there your little doll?
Oh yeah.
Oh, the Muppet.
Made a
He's.
video about it.
Have you
Yeah,
seen
I
the
did.
doll of you yet?
I even held it hostage.
Armored
I
Skeptic,
think
have you
that-
seen it
I
yet?
did a ransom video and everything. Actually, he told me he was really excited about it that I did it.
Yeah, I posted that video all over on my Twitter and my Facebook where
Whee!
nobody watches it. It's awesome. I love it.
Well, I thought I was just gonna be too weird for having done that. I was like,
Oh no, it was
'Cause-
really fucking weird.
Hey,
because I was thinking,
Mine. Where's mine?
I will get to it. I can make
Is
it
mine
fun.
was so much more complicated because I'm a sexy motherfucker.
I'm trying to figure out how to do, cause I want to do one of you and I want to do one of Logic too. And the thing is, I got to figure out how to do a gas mask and I got to figure out how to do the top hat.
Where is Logic? Where is he, by the way?
He's never around.
He's laying low. He's recharging his
too
batteries.
cool for school.
That's all right, I guess.
He'll
I
be
just
back.
wanted to ask.
Actually, he might be in school, so that's what.
But yeah, your gas mask style on your picture is a very particular style, and I want to be able to capture that.
I saw your mock-up drawings, though. They look pretty cool.
Oh, for the
For the mask, yeah.
yeah.
I didn't.
Oh, it's on Facebook.
Yeah, you gotta go to Facebook there.
Well, I haven't made a Facebook for Atticus. I only have my actual Facebook, so if I add any of you, keep that shit to yourself.
We'll know your secrets.
I used to have an actual Facebook, but then I was like,
Here
I
is
can't
something
do all
for the
this.
people who are tuning in, all 10 of our viewers. He is a hunky stud, and he doesn't want anyone to know how much of a luscious piece of man meat he is.
Well,
Oh,
we
I
could
would-
all see his nips through that T-shirt he was wearing in that one
Yeah.
video.
You know what?
Take the
I waited for the
Skarsgård
one
guy
person
from...
to say nice tits, and they did. Someone came along and they were like, nice tits. I was like, oh shit, I gotta go fucking do some push-ups.
I will always admire your tits, Finite Atticus.
Aw. Addie's fine. I
Even-
like Addie.
Addie, okay. Everybody calls me Queenie, so some people call me Schizo, and I'm kind of like, I don't
What?
know.
Who's calling you schizo?
I don't know. People like Beach and
I like calling you SQ because that's like DQ, and I love DQ.
You can't have DQ, Jason.
So if I put in schizophrenic queen on Facebook, will that?
yes, I abandoned my actual Facebook long ago when I realized that I had gone too far into the thralls of Facebook gaming.
Did you kill somebody over interrupting a game?
No.
No.
I could probably say I did though, and people would believe me.
Yeah.
It's true, I seen her. She was there standing over the body, knife in hand, dripping blood.
I told you never to tell anyone. Now I have to come over to Scotland and kill you.
I has protections.
Yeah, your protections are that I'm broke all the time and there's no way I can afford to go to
Aw.
Scotland.
Would you actually say that at customs? Reason for visit? I'm here to kill Angus.
Yeah,
Yeah, they probably point you in the right direction.
They'd probably pull a limo up to the airport.
quick, call the limo. She's here to kill him.
We heard he's torturing Americans and Canadians on a regular basis.
If you do go to Scotland, though, Queenie, stop by my place first. I want to meet you.
Oh, you live in Scotland?
No, hell no.
If I had the money to go,
Look, don't count on it. She traveled within mere miles of my home, and I didn't get to
I
see her.
wanted to see you, but you were busy and having family.
Yeah, there was family stuff going on there, but it was weird to see her on my BART train that I take every day to go to work.
And I was like talking to some chick about, I don't even remember
Yeah,
what.
you were macking on some chick.
What? I always got a mac on the ladies.
You and me both, sister.
This turned into
Yeah.
an MRE video.
Me and Armor Skeptic should go, like, we should totally meet up sometime and go out and just mac on all the ladies.
Oh, you be my wingman, so to speak?
I will totally be your wingman, but I warn you, I kind of suck as a wingman because all the ladies love me so much. I might end up inadvertently stealing your thunder, and then I will have to profusely apologize.
That's fine. I'll just take your leftovers. I'm sure that'll be fine.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Cristobal
That's
Munoz
what
says that
happened
Zumba
to
is really
Jane Paul.
popular in Chile. Sorry.
I don't know. It's supposed to be like a really intense workout, and I'm usually such a lazy person that I'm sure I'll be sweating bullets tomorrow.
Zumba just sounds like a children's program hosted by a scantily clad woman in Brazil.
I'm scantily clad, below
No, you're
the waist.
not.
No, you are.
Below the waist.
If
Sweater.
I stand up, you will see my booty shorts.
Oh, okay. Then please stand up.
Okay.
No way.
Booty shorts.
Get out of
They're
town.
coming running up.
The internet is a wonderful place.
Yeah. Would the real schizophrenic queen please stand up?
You know what?
Yeah,
I'm not going to make a Facebook for Atticus. I don't think so. I'll just add you, Queenie.
We have to beg him or he won't do it.
I won't tell anyone your secret identity because,
Jesus.
quite
We have to
frankly,
promise
I have a
that-
gay crush on you, so I'll totally keep your secrets. I have
That's
this
my
weird
favorite
thing.
soda, by the way.
I have this weird
Gay
thing.
crush.
Gay crush.
What does it
Where-
taste like?
No, see, it's this thing I do where I just have
RuPaul.
crushes on gay guys, and it's like, it's not even like, it's just a thing. If you're a gay guy, I instantly love you.
I think I could probably come up with some gay guys that you wouldn't love.
Really? 'Cause
Roy Cohn wasn't very lovable.
No, he was a horrible person.
He was an absolute
Well,
horror
Addie,
of a person.
Addie is a wonderful person.
I'm
and-
not saying anything against Atticus aside
No,
from
I
his
know.
mean
I
streak.
try, and the thing is, I still have all these bodies in my freezer.
Oh my
You know,
God.
when we go off air of a very public spanking, he insults both me and Monkey Tail until we cry, and then he hangs up.
Aw.
And then I apologize profusely and tell you that I was drunk and on meth.
Yeah,
And
it's
you
an abuse
always-
cycle
you
that we
always
can't
accept
break.
Friggin' atheists, you're so
Well,
forgiving.
I'm maintaining my gay crush on Addie, so you could shove it.
Oh,
You
okay.
don't think that I'm the evil one of the show, but I'm not. I'm the nice guy.
Oh, please. It's Angus's torture chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are not known as the nice one. I think if we open that up to the audience tomorrow, they'd say, what are our roles? I'm the dumb one, you're the mean one, and Finite is the secretive nice one.
And I'm the sexy one.
Okay, fine. And Armored Skeptic, you need to come in with a really strong personality trait.
Fuck you.
He's the one that hurts my
Like
feelings.
he hasn't come on strong enough.
Do I not come across as the crass one? Does that not work?
I have to tell you, Armored Skeptic, your last video when you're typing at your computer and you have those abnormally long arms.
Yeah, I know. I had a lot of fun with that. That was
Oh,
great.
Hello, everyone. It's Strong Bad Email. I
Oh.
was so excited.
And I love the videos because I watch Armor Skeptic videos while I sew because they're a good length and I can just listen to it.
hmm
Yeah, my last one's a little short, but yeah, it was a lot of fun to do.
I like the part where the guy's all like, "But I love you," and you're like, "Whoa, dude, I don't even know you. I guess you're okay."
I had quite a back and forth with KK Cortez, and he assumed that somehow with his words he was going to reconvert me, and it no matter what I said, he was like, "Oh, this is just one of those back and forths where no matter what I say, you won't listen," and I'm like, "What do you mean listen? I've been asking you questions that you won't answer." And then he just stopped commenting, like, I'm too important.
When you said reconvert, did you mean that with like quotation marks around it and a
Yeah,
lyric?
because it's not a word. It's not a word.
No. What I mean is I get this sincere feeling that he was trying to reconvert you to more than just
It
Christianity.
means make you straight again.
I don't think that KK Cortez knew that.
No one
Yeah, I
can
don't think anyone. Yeah.
I mean, some people do see my name in comment sections on videos, and they're like, they'll joke around. And I think I wrote a comment maybe a week ago, and someone was like, "You don't have to mention that this guy's gay in every video," and it was just like a thing where the guy like that wasn't mentioned at all. So I found it kind of funny, and I was like, whatever.
Yeah, I can't tell if I'm really good at arguing or not, but for some reason when I get into back and forths with people, they stop commenting after my second reply, and it's pretty much almost always my second reply. Even what the fuck's that name? That guy's name? God Rules. He's been on my my God Rules video, arguing with almost everybody, except he only made 2 comments to me the entire time.
Well, because he's using you as a vehicle, he probably
yeah.
can't. He
Yeah.
probably can't hold up to your arguments.
No, he can't
People
hold
pick
up to
and
my
choose.
arguments.
You know what's funny?
I called him out on his bullshit, and he won't even acknowledge it.
Yeah. You know what's funny? When I went to a back and forth on he made
Be
a
right
video
back,
where
guys.
he was like he made a video where he was like, one guy made a video where you could just see his feet, and at least some atheists have a sense of humor. So, and he was like, I really got under these people's skin. So I commented, I'm like, yeah, you didn't really get under my skin, but I just want one question, one of my questions answered. What would evidence for the non-existence of a God look like? And then you know what he said to me? The question is malformed. I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, you motherfucker. You think that you can just turn that right back around? It doesn't even make sense.
Dude.
And then he stopped commenting.
Yeah, he's really bad at, as Deconverted Man says, argumentation. He is really bad at arguing.
Yeah.
He misuses the word logic. He misuses the word science. He misuses the word understanding all the time. He says things are illogical when logic doesn't even factor into it at all.
Yeah.
I used to argue like stuff with my parents because they're both Christian, but that's as far as I go. Because I don't
I'm
like to
sorry.
argue with people on the internet because they tend to. Usually, when I get in a really heavy debate or whatever on the internet and I'm winning, the other person will go, "Oh, you're schizophrenic. Don't have to listen to you." So that's like too frustrating for me to handle on a regular basis. But I used to argue with my parents, and they stopped debating me because I was always winning, and they probably felt inadequate or something. But
How long
I
have
once,
you been atheist?
since I became schizophrenic,
Which was how long ago?
7 years ago.
Oh, so not that long then.
Like I think I became schizophrenic when I was like 21, and I'm
I'm
28
only
now.
very recent. It's only been 3 years.
Well, it's weird because I reached my atheism through a very theistic method. I was like, having all these hallucinations and stuff based around the whole God versus the devil thing, and then I was like, wait a minute. And I had this brilliant idea, and I was like, if God doesn't exist, then there's no reason for the devil to exist, and then neither of them exist, and this can all go away.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
And did you stop having hallucinations, or?
Oh, I still have hallucinations. They're not as bad as they were, though. So.
Yeah. So
Well,
I've
when they-
only been atheist for about a year now, believe it or not. Which
Oh,
is,
the little newbie.
it's kind of embarrassing though, because I'm scientifically trained. In fact, I'm not allowed to say what I do for a living because it could ruin my career if I say it online. But I do have a scientifically related job. And I'm quite embarrassed to say that I used to be one of those apologists for the other side that use science to prove creationism.
Oh,
And,
Jesus, you terrible.
I know,
person. None of us in that room have ever done that.
I was one of those assholes, I know. So
Yeah.
that's why I have such a fervent hatred for creationists, because I've been on that side and I know the mental gymnastics, and people will say a lot to me that I'm kind of a dick, and I fully admit that I'm a dick on my videos. Not as much as I want to be, but it's because I've been there.
There are definitely more dickish people
Yeah,
online.
it's
Well,
because
we love your dickishness.
But I know
I
I've
love
been there. I've been there. But I mean, aside from my dickishness, I try to at least be concise and truthful.
I
in
think
everything
one of
that
the
I say.
problems why, for me, creationists get more vitriol than, say, Christians in general is that in order for them to prove their points, they have to be deliberately dishonest.
Yeah,
And
the
that's what I don't.
dishonesty.
That's what I mean. If you have real faith, and you don't need it to be scientifically true, it's just something that you feel in your heart, I'm not going to be able to argue with you, and I don't feel that it's my place to argue with you.
Yeah.
But if you're going to try to step up and try to downplay real science in favor of what is demonstrably a pack of lies,
Yeah,
then I'm going to come after you.
it's the peddling and pushing of lies that hurts me the most, I think.
Yeah,
That's what gets my blood boiling the most, for sure.
My mom's a creationist, but she never shoved it in my face or anything. I didn't even know she was a creationist until I was already an adult. She told me the dinosaurs were dead because Noah didn't let them on the ark, and I was kind of like,
What the fuck?
I was like, you were a chemical attack in the military. You're not a dumb lady. Why do you believe this?
Yeah, even Ken Ham knew that there were dinosaurs on the ark. Jeez.
Yeah, jeez Louise. And they all ate plants too.
Yeah.
Well, they would have
needed
had,
to
hopefully,
mow the grass.
the only way that all those animals could have survived is if they ate shit.
Well, there certainly wouldn't have been enough of it.
I wouldn't. I
Well,
wouldn't
I
be
kinda
surprised
made-
if someone
I
tried
made-
that one eventually.
I made a video a long time ago, 3 years ago, in which I challenged them because they're building that fake ark.
Oh, I can't
on the ground.
wait for that, by the way. I
And I
cannot
said, if you
wait
guys
for
do-
that.
If you guys really wanted to prove your point, build a real ark, fill it. You don't have to fill it with real animals, but you do have to fill it with the equivalent weight and mass of the real animal.
I'd be happy if they just made styrofoam replicas and tried to prove that they would all fit in there.
But I would want them to then build that ark with the tools available and the trees that were available, and then float that out to sea and see how long it stays
And also
afloat.
the amount of weight in food too.
Yeah, it's proven. It will fall apart. It will not even last 10 minutes in the water.
Well, here's my my theory about the whole arc thing. With Ken Ham wanted to do this as a publicity stunt to get more attention,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't think he realized how much attention it would get until he actually got government grants. Over $35 million in government
You've
grants.
got to be
Yeah.
shitting me.
No.
I don't know any
Taxpayer money.
government.
No,
It's
that's
over
absolutely true.
it's over a year behind schedule, but I think that's because he never actually planned on doing it in the first place. But now he's kind of backed into a corner because now the state of, what is it, Kentucky, is actually backing him with taxpayer money to build this fucking thing.
So he went, oh shit, well let's get Bill Nye on now because...
Yeah. So anyways, I think that he was kind of blindsided by that. I don't think he realized it was going to happen. And
I hope it gets struck by lightning and burns to the ground on the day of opening, right as they cut the ribbon.
I'd just be happy if that happened to Ken Ham.
I was
One of
struck
the
by
biggest
lightning.
problems that he has with the Creationist Museum is there's a few things wrong. Number one, it's not a big museum.
No, it's tiny.
You
It's
can do it
tiny.
in less than a day.
You can do it in
And
less
they're
than half an hour.
Yeah, and they're trying to get families to come out and plan their vacations to go to the Creationist Museum. Well, after that hour, there's nothing to do, and you're in Ohio.
I went
where
to the Creationist Museum in, I think it was California. It's pretty small.
Yeah, there's
But,
one in California. There's one in Canada somewhere too,
yeah.
apparently.
Oh, you poor soul. But I went to the one in California, and it was, it was laughable. They didn't know anything about science,
Yeah.
but I did get into a discussion with the guy painting the walls about different art techniques, because I wasn't gonna debate theism in the theism derv.
What's bothering me right now more than the Creationist Museum or creationists in general is what's happening to our actual museums in this country. The California Academy of Sciences in Golden Gate Park, they tore down their entire old museum and they built this brand new one. And the brand new one has very little science and has a lot to do with attracting tourists.
You know
The
what,
old-
though? The Boston Science Museum is still going strong. It's
I love that museum.
wonderful.
I've
It's-
been there. I love that museum.
I just went there a couple weeks ago with my daughter and my father, and it took us 9 hours to do the whole thing. Everything was occupied. We did the planetarium, and they do have kind of a rumpus room for kids now. Which kept my daughter occupied for a little while, but then after she was like, I want to go look at some machines and stuff,
Yeah, our old museum had the African Hall and all the taxidermy halls, and they had the Hall of Paleontology. All of that's gone, and they built this brand new structure with, a quote unquote living roof where they grow grass and crab on it. The planetarium's completely different. Everything is basically designed for ease of consumption. And while there's still information there, it's nothing like going to a real museum that feels its age.
Yeah.
That has a history behind it. Everything's bright and shiny and new, and they have an inside rainforest where you can go in and see butterflies and all that other stuff. And I'm in there, I'm going, that's really interesting, but it has nothing to do with the nature of California. We don't have a tropical rainforest in California at any point.
You should. No, I'm just kidding.
We have our own amazing things in California.
Like all
but
the gay people. No, I'm
well,
just kidding.
that
That
we
was
have,
terrible.
we have the largest
Why
trees
am
in
I
the
not
world.
there?
Yeah, we need to move Addie to California so he can be amongst his own kind.
I couldn't be
Add
that
the
far.
pot to the kettle. Why aren't you out here?
I need to be out there, but I'm poor. And being in California is a rich man's sport.
Yeah, I couldn't be that far away from my kids.
Yeah, see, yeah, that's for I did that flight. I was dating someone who lived in Worcester, and that's a long.
Oh, really? Who? I might know them.
You don't know them.
I'm just kidding. Hey, you know what?
His name was Dave.
Hilarious.
I was in Worcester with flight plans back on 9/11.
Right, guys, I'm going to go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Wait, how old were you in
Wait a minute,
9/11?
that's weird. I remember where I was on 9/11, and you were less than 15 miles away from me.
Yeah.
I was in high school.
I'm 45.
Really?
Yeah. That's how old I turned yesterday.
Well, my boyfriend's in his 30s. It's not like I'm ageist.
Yeah, happy birthday, by the way, Jason.
Oh, thank you.
Happy birthday.
Happy
No, we gotta
birthday.
save
Even
that for
start.
tomorrow. The Google
Vegas,
Plus
did
will
you
shut
say
us
you're going to
down.
I
Yeah,
would
man,
sing, but I'm too lazy.
I've got
Yeah,
a 7-year-old
you're
nephew that
conking.
I'm going to
You gotta go to sleep.
very
Good
soon.
night. He doesn't want his snoring to show up on the thing. Like
It was adorable.
But we
was
could
so fun.
document the Snorosaurus.
No, we were talking. I think it was after show, and he was out. No, it was a hangout. It was a hangout like this on a Friday, and we all just stopped, and he was just out snoring.
And
it
every
was-
once in a while, he would take over the screen because his snoring was so loud.
you would take over the screen.
I did. I took a screenshot too.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have to go because I've got a 7-year-old nephew upstairs who I suspect, from the sounds that he's making, may be getting up very soon.
Not to mention you got 7 hours of torture to set up for tomorrow.
Yeah.
I have 28 videos of torture to do.
He's getting up
And all
awfully
of them are an
early.
hour long each, so we're gonna be 20. Hey, Jax, come here.
It's going to be...
But, I would have never guessed you were 45, though.
yeah.
Most people don't. When I'm out with my son, people think that I'm his brother. I don't have a lot of gray in my hair. I don't have a lot of gray in my. I have more gray in my beard, but I attribute it to my Filipino genes that are keeping me young looking.
Oh, you have Filipino genes?
Yes.
I have Native American genes that give me my high cheekbones, which is why my face was so rounded until I lost all the weight.
Why do people get to be more interesting than me?
Oh,
Are you
my God.
just
Maybe it's because people can see us, Atticus.
No, I'm.
Are you
I'm
a
just-
crack-a-lacka?
okay, so I'm Scottish. I'm Welsh. I'm French. I'm
Mhm.
Irish. Yeah. I'm very vanilla.
You're American.
Hey man, I'm very vanilla too. It's just that
I'm Norwegian and Filipino.
it's weird because I think it was either my great great grandmother or my great 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 grandmother was a full blooded Native American or something like that. But like we're all pretty white in my family, and my grandmother and my grandfather before he died. But they're so racist. There were some. I think it was like possibly Hispanic or black people living in their small town, and they were like, minorities, blah, 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 blah. And
Well, racism
throwing-
was a requirement to graduate high school back in the day. So
Was it? Wow, that's some new information.
my grandmother is just
Before
the
the
most
cutoff?
terrible person. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, if there was a hell, that my grandmother would go there and I wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah, my grandfather's on his last leg, and if there was a hell, not that I'd want him to go there, but he would definitely be a candidate for sure. I was actually talking about him a little bit before on the public spanking episode I was on, but he's the most racist, sexist,
I
homophobic
saw
Yeah, you were.
person.
It's because he made a joke about gay people working in gas stations.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw
yeah,
Oh, that's right.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden you didn't talk for like a whole minute. I was like,
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
we
because I was
pushed him
trying.
too far.
No, it's because I was trying to figure out where that stereotype came from, and then I realized, oh wait, that's not a stereotype.
That's
just
right. It
my-
came from your grandpa.
It's just
I
my
remember-
big
My dear old
It was
grandpa.
just your grandfather who had a guy come on to him at a gas station once.
Yeah, probably.
I had a gay friend who worked at a gas station, so I thought maybe it was a thing, but I didn't know.
there's two. Maybe this theory is correct. I don't know.
Maybe it's
Well,
your
it's
mom.
changed in. even my lifetime, because I remember, I was raised in a gay household, and even I made gay jokes when I was in intermediate school.
And what
It
did
was
your moms think about that, though?
never did it around my mom.
Well, I think gay jokes are still appropriate as long as the gay is not the butt of the joke. Like,
He made a pun in the middle of talking about it.
There's one that I remember. There's one joke that is very that's very homophobic. And
Let's hear it. Bring it out. I want to hear
back in the day, before, if you didn't live in San Francisco, the notorious street in San Francisco was Polk Street for a very long time. And even when I first moved to the city, I lived a block away from Polk Street, and it was not as nice as Haight. The Castro district is where gay guys who can afford to buy a home live. And the homes there are very nice, and it's more of an upscale gay neighborhood. Polk Street is seedier, to say the least. It's where straight guys from the burbs would go to pick up guys for money. And the joke back in the day was, what do you do if you drop your wallet on Polk Street?
What?
You kick it all the way to Van Ness.
that's terrible.
It's terrible. It's a terrible joke.
Yeah, I pretty much saw that coming, though.
Yeah.
Except I didn't know.
Wait. Is it spelled poke, P-O-K-E, or P-O-L-K?
P-O-L-K.
Oh, okay. I thought it was P-O-K-E. I'm like,
Still the pun stands.
yeah, my head is in the gutter, but...
Oh.
But I mean, at this point, in San Francisco, the gay people live everywhere. It doesn't really matter anymore. I mean, the Castro is still a hub. There are still pilgrimages you make out there. You still go there if you want to see naked men walk up and down the street on festive days.
Holy shit, I love it.
Oh yeah, all the time, and they don't get harassed.
Oh wait, I found Tumblr. I don't have to.
Don't get me started on Tumblr.
So that is homosexuality totally gay video. Find Out Atticus was actually the one that approached me with that. He wanted me to help him out with it, and I thought it was awesome because I kind of thought of it as a redemption thing. And my old channel's gone. It's dead, and as far as I'm concerned, it can burn. But in one of my apologetics videos, I talked about homosexuality, and I said that it wasn't a choice. I admitted that I knew that it wasn't a choice, and I was trying to reason why. And I gave the basic, usual apologetic reasons, and I kind of made a total ass of myself, knowing now what knowing what I know now.
I didn't even remember it.
No, you hadn't seen it, and I hope.
Oh, that was on the old channel.
Yeah, my old channel when I was an apologist. So, anyways, I was really glad that you came to me with that because it made me feel like I kind of made up for all that bullshit that I used to spew before. And I was trying to kind of like that kid was. I was trying to sound like I loved gays and I wanted to help them, but that. Not that I thought I could cure them, but that just that letting them know.
Was that you? Are you K-Love Radio? Is that what it is?
No. Trust me, the shit he said was.
Oh,
way
and by the
worse
way,
than what I said.
tell everybody what we discovered.
Oh yeah, his channel's gone now. Gone.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, he went
Copyright claim.
like right after my video went up, all of his comment sections went down. Even though he said in his video he has an open comment section, they just immediately went down. He said that, I guess we can't have nice things, kind of thing, and then not even 2 weeks later, his entire channel is completely gone. So I guess people just probably flagged the shit out of him after my video came out.
Destroyed him.
Well, one of them said when I went to if you go to the channel, it says copyright claim.
I haven't seen that. I just saw that it was a breach of the terms of service.
Oh, all right.
So maybe
it was multiple things at once.
Yeah, I'm betting that he was flagged and DMCA'd. So you probably saw him after a DMCA, but he was flagged, I'm sure.
But something, Skeptic, you really shouldn't feel like you have to make up for anything.
Oh, I've got a lot of making up to do.
No, you know what? No, I've met plenty of people who were raised in Mormon households who came out later. And they're having to deal with families and stuff like that back home. And you know what? You were a product of the culture that you were in. and you can't help that.
Think about it this way.
That's not your fault. You don't have any past sins that you have to make up.
I'd love to believe that, but I'm my own man. I've got my own brain. I could have figured that shit out on my own.
But you did. That's the point. You did.
Eventually.
Well, it doesn't matter how long it took.
It took me 29 years, Jason. 29 fucking years.
It's eventually for everybody.
You know what's worse? Never doing it. You could be. You could have been one of those. You could have been one of those. I made a video a long time ago before Fundy came out, in which the point was that the people who say that being gay is a choice, what they're really saying is gay behavior is a choice.
And that's kind of what my apologetic video was about. I said that I understand that they're not choosing to have those desires, but the acting on those desires is the choice, is what I was basically saying.
Right.
But you're different now. You've grown and developed as a person.
I gotta jump in here, because the thing is, think about it this way. Think about what I did to myself.
Yeah.
You know, I not only hated being gay, but I also refused to acknowledge it and ignored it to the point that I got married, had children, and, you know, essentially, I mean, my ex probably wouldn't say so, but I essentially feel like I destroyed a part of someone else's life.
Yeah, but did you press your beliefs on other people, though? Did you tell other people that they shouldn't be gay?
I believe in, you know what, and I should probably make a video about it. You know, it's going to be on this channel anyway, but I'll have this conversation in public. I don't care. But there were times where I called other people faggots, and I said, yeah, no, and then my ex would come to me and go, yeah, but, you know, you remember when you told me about that thing? And I was like, yeah, but, you know, that was just a thing. It was a phase.
You know what, though? You got children out of it, and even though you might feel like...
Oh, yeah, and that's the most beautiful thing, is that I'm still friends with my ex-wife.
Yeah, and see,
I have 2 good children, you know?
See, you didn't destroy her life, you just destroyed her relationship, but she ended up with kids out of the deal, right? I mean, if anything, you've just enriched people's lives. I mean, compared to what I did, it's a lot better. A lot better.
We've all been people we don't like before. I mean, I know I have.
That's what I feel like the whole Armored Skeptic is about. It's a character I've created to redeem my past sins. Is basically the way I feel about it.
Yeah, I'm the exact same way.
And you know, I'm gonna apologize. I'm not gonna tell you not to feel the way you feel. That's something that I don't like to tell people that they shouldn't. I'm just saying that there are people here who accept your past. And, you know, understand it.
I understood exactly what you meant by that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we're not judging you in any way, shape, or form.
I'm just trying to be supportive.
No,
I'm your wingman.
Yeah,
I'm your wingman. My job.
Forever my wingman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that I just feel compelled. I feel compelled.
I gotta say, I thank you for doing the collab anyway. Because,
oh no, it was awesome. I mean, my heart wasn't as in it, I have to admit, as my other projects because I didn't get to choose it. But then when it was all over, I was actually really happy about the entire thing.
Now, can I ask you a different question, just real quickly?
Yeah.
You suppress your Canadian accent when you're doing your videos?
No.
You don't? Because I'm
No.
hearing it a lot more for some reason here in the chat room than in your videos.
Well, you know what though? I did a lot of public speaking and acting and puppetry and filming, and I was really big into film. That's why I'm so good at making my videos. As I was in the whole film scene in my high school and college days, so I kind of just go into my public speaking mode, I guess, when I'm doing that. So I mean, now when I'm in here with you guys, I'm a lot more candid. So I'm not actually thinking about what I'm saying. I'm just letting it spew out of my mouth, and that's probably why you're hearing my aboats and stuff like that.
Yeah, I find it very, very charming.
I gotta say though, I didn't actually get to watch your part 2 until I was at work the next day.
Oh yeah.
And I essentially plug my headphones into the computer, and I can't really watch except to glance at the computer or my phone or whatever. And
yeah, you were saying that, yeah.
People were like, there were only 4 people there on Sunday, and it's kind of quiet in the desks. We're just doing our thing, and then all of a sudden, people were like, "What the fuck? is wrong with him? They're hearing me going, what the? Ha ha ha! Just fucking laughing at the top of my lungs.
I like the
It
part
was
where it's
so
all
great.
like, I like the part where it's all like, Atticus, this guy's a
That was
mean
the part
man.
that made me fall off my chair. I literally fell off my chair and almost hit my head against the desk, and then I got back up.
You're a stupid
I
argument.
started the video, and when he said you don't have to bang someone to appreciate their looks, and you were like, I gotta put that on a plaque. I picked up my phone and looked at it, and you had actually made a fucking plaque. I was like, yes.
I know. I did a lot of work for that video. Actually, I had to create 4 new graphics, and I actually had to create an all new animation for that video. But it was worth it.
What are you using for your
I'm
animation?
so impressed by your
I can't tell you. I can't tell you.
You can't tell me what your animation.
No, maybe I'll discuss it sometime eventually, but I can't tell you right now.
Oh, okay.
It's a secret.
He's probably helping to develop it. Or
It's
something.
proprietary.
It's the Armored Skeptic's secret sauce.
No, it's just because it's actually really analog and lame. So
Well, so is mine.
Oh,
Mine
so
is
you don't want to like show us that you're a nerd. Is
No.
that the thing?
No, it's because I'm basically designing each frame by frame and then kind of placing. Yeah, I might as well tell you. I'm making each frame individually, and then I'm placing the frames into my editing program, basically frame by frame, and that's why it takes me 2 weeks to make a video.
That's
the
the
animation.
reason. If you've ever looked at all of my old original videos, all of those animation videos that I made at the very beginning of when I first started YouTube, they're all frame animation.
Yeah.
They're not Flash. They took forever.
Yeah, I have a few more frames in mine than you did in yours, but yeah, it's basically.
Yeah, you do, because I was doing, at one point I was only
Wow.
doing 5 frames a second.
Yeah.
You
it's a
guys
lot
are
more.
doing so much work, and I feel bad because the only thing that really frustrates me is that I'm not actually that great of a speaker. And when I
That
put
is
on my
not-
You're better than
Are
me.
you
but
fucking?
listen,
Yeah,
wait.
That is the biggest load of bullshit I have ever heard in my life.
No
Listen
way.
to me though, okay. When I do my recording, I put on my headphones and I have a script in front of me. And I lean my head down because it sort of keeps my voice monotone and I don't, cough or sneeze or anything. And if you were in the room with me, what you would hear is this. All right, so what's a line here? Well, I don't believe any. Fuck! Ugh!
You should
That's
keep
what
them
you
in.
would hear. you would seriously hear that, and then what I do is I go back into
There is a, you know what I do
the
have, I do
program
have
and
to say,
cut,
there
and
is
cut
a,
it all together.
there is a huge difference between the voice that you use on your videos and the way you talk here.
Yeah,
There is a big
and that's-
difference.
That's what I'm saying. What you're hearing is me going through hundreds of takes, sometimes thousands of takes of me cutting the best parts and putting them in there and going, all right, this is fine. And then I listen to it over and over again, and sometimes I'll redo different parts. And when you hear me speak in the video, I listen to it and go, that's not me. That can't possibly be me.
I find that really surprising because I've seen your deconversion series at least 3 times, minus maybe the last couple videos because they just came out recently. But I thought you were probably the most eloquent speaker on the entirety of YouTube's history.
Yeah, I think that's the reason why
come
you
on.
have so many hits.
All right, with evidence out there.
Well, now that you've fucking told us, yeah.
I like evidence, but sometimes evidence is the sound of the voice you want to hear as you're drifting off to sleep sometimes.
Okay,
He's very eloquent, but he has a very soothing voice.
I wanna, Addie, I binged on your deconversion videos. I did, and I felt so moved by it. I was like watching them one after another because I can get kind of fixated, and that's just sort of a thing that I do. And I watched all of them all in a night, and when I was done, I was like crying.
Aw.
That's so lame to admit, because like
Well,
I grew up
I gotta
with
say,
brothers,
and
so.
I'll do a reveal because I'm writing a script now for more stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
One person commented in my comment section that people are like, they like my ponage videos, they think they're funny, and I'm gonna keep doing those, but they essentially said you should do more life stuff, like what happened after your deconversion, like did you ever fall in love with that guy that you talked about or stuff like that, and then I kind of wrote a little blurb. I'm like, oh, he's straight, that, this, and that, and then I was like, well, I got so much more shit that I could easily talk about, you know.
Yeah.
Speaking of reveal, Atticus sent me a beta version of his video, and I actually saw his face really briefly in it.
What did you think?
Wait a minute, you can see my face in a
I'm
couple
right,
of my
aren't I?
deconversion videos.
Oh,
I'm right,
yeah,
aren't
except
I?
you're a kid, aren't you?
Well, there's a couple where you can see a picture of me as a teenager, but the
Oh.
one where you see in the last one, there's a scene where I chose from my wedding party.
Oh, that's actually
afterwards.
you?
Yeah, that's me and
Oh,
and
shit.
my ex-wife. Yeah,
Crazy.
So cool.
I remember it to this day very clearly. We had actually had an argument just after putting the rings on about something stupid, and I'm sure every
there was a
married
time
person knows this.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. So every person knows this. You can have an argument with your spouse anytime. So I had been with her for almost 5 years at that point. So we put our rings on, and then I think my son did something stupid, and I yelled at him, and she said, "You can't do that." And then so we went over to the cake, and my relative had just married us, and he was sitting there and he was waiting for cake, and you know he had traveled pretty far to marry us, and we were like, all right, let's just get this done, and we were doing the smashing thing. So when we cut it, I put some on her eyes and her face, and then the part that you see is her taking revenge and taking a huge, like a whole piece of cake, and I'm diving away from it, and she's smashing it onto my head. And if I had the volume up, what you would have heard me say was, "Fucking no!" Like that. That's what you would have heard.
See, what you don't know, Skep, is that Angus and I actually managed to convince him on a couple of times when we're off air to be live on camera. So
I've been trying to do it this whole thing.
We've
before we
seen
I bet
his
he's so
whole face.
handsome.
Yes,
My gay crush is showing.
he is
That's
grade
all right.
A. He is grade A stud material, and he's hiding himself away because he's afraid. I think he's gonna.
I'll get more subs than the Amazing Atheist.
I had the gay crush the second I saw the sweater vest, let me tell you.
I think I was just wearing like a dirty T-shirt that had some wine spilled on it when you guys saw me.
Oh, can
So
I tell you?
if this ends up not being live, I'll turn the camera on. I don't care. I tried to before, it didn't work.
See, one of the problems is I'm kind of jealous of your ability to be more personal because ever since I brought in the puppets, there's not a whole lot of me in my videos. You know, I answer questions. I'm not trying to hide myself away or anything, but even during the intimate questions section, I'm adopting a kind of, I wouldn't say an announcer personality, but it's definitely not. It's not me. It's scripted, and while I do answer some questions pretty much as myself, there's not a whole lot of personal stuff about myself in the videos at all. And
Well, here's one observation about humanity, Jason, that I'm willing to make because I see it in myself. Is there's a certain amount of duality, like for example on the feminist versus men rights activist thing. Like I have to admit that I see good points on both sides. And I understand why people have problems with both sides. So I could just as easily as you do make arguments from both sides and create those characters because I myself can't really place a label on myself. And I would say that that's what I see in your characters. I see that internal struggle in yourself. Not to be too poetic about the whole fucking thing. It is children's puppets after all, but I mean,
those are adult puppets.
But those puppets are you, believe it or not.
no, I know it's like remember when they say in your dreams you are all the characters.
Exactly. I mean, and in all those conversations, like when Gary takes a position that I wouldn't necessarily expect him to take, like in your latest video when you're talking about gun rights, and Gary says I hate guns. It's like you're a gun owner, I know you are, and that you love guns, and you pretend shot yourself in the face when I was on public speaking. And the thing is, like, I understand that even though you're a gun owner and lover, I can see why you, as Gary, would not like guns at all and think that they should be abolished. That's a duality, you know, that we all struggle with in our own personal lives.
Yeah, but the puppets also allow me to get off the hook.
Oh, that's
they
true
allow
too.
me. I
Yeah,
think one of the
I
reasons
think
why
that's why I haven't shown my face yet. Is that sort of lets me off the hook just a little bit.
I show everyone my face because I'm fucking gorgeous.
You're super honest
You are.
in your videos.
And you're on. Me?
Oh,
Or-
you no her.
Oh, her? Yes,
Her,
you are.
Oh,
yeah.
both of you are.
I get in trouble sometimes, like more often than not. I get in trouble
Well-
because I'm too honest.
Atticus, you're honest, but you're not as open. Like what we're saying about her is that she's honest and open and completely three-dimensional. Whereas, I mean, people like us that won't show our faces, there's a certain part of ourselves that we're not willing to share with other people. We're not as willing to let everybody know about the inner workings of our minds.
Well, I've done
Yeah.
some pretty weird shit on YouTube, to
Yeah,
be honest.
You've done some
No,
controversial
I've
stuff
done.
too.
I did something on. I made this other channel just so I could do something weird, and I don't even think I remember what it was called. But what I did was I put on this whole bodysuit, like a white bodysuit, and made like creepy videos.
I remember the lollipop video. Was it a lollipop?
It was.
I remember finding that was in my subs thing, and I clicked on it. And I was like, "What am I watching now? What's going on?"
I remember that video that you put a shirt on. That was an awesome video.
I liked that.
Actually,
video. I'm surprised I was
Cleaning.
able to do that in one take.
Wait, that was she put a shirt on? That was the video?
Remember the one where you commented that I should label it as potentially not safe for work?
Oh, I actually don't.
The one where I put on the binder and I didn't have
Oh.
anything on. And
Oh
I remember your comment, Jason, too. You said something about it taking your breath away or something like that. Yeah,
Okay.
that
'cause
happened.
I am the hotness.
She went from 0 to shirt, basically.
She went from 0 to
Queenie, the very first video I ever saw on your channel, and it was because Logic linked you in one of the videos, was one I just clicked randomly, and you were crying your eyes out over something, and it was very honest and very deep, and I wrote, this is awesome. And then afterwards, I was like, "Why did I write that? She'll probably take offense to it, like I was
Was that
making fun of her."
the burning out one? Because I'm still.
I think so. You were yelling at somebody for saying some shit to you, and you were really.
Oh,
pissed.
that made me angry.
I got a
made
lot
me
of shit
pissed off.
for that video.
You may not know this, but I'm very protective of you.
Oh, I feel special.
By the way,
Yeah, I
Queenie,
really am.
does Logic have an exclusive deal with you? Because I want to have you in one of my videos too.
I don't have that particular wig with me, but I can totally work out a costume if you want
No,
me to.
I don't
be
necessarily.
in
No,
your
I don't.
video.
I don't know that I want you to be the same character, but something like this similar kind of concept.
Oh no, use
I've
the Oracle
got-
of Toronto. That would be awesome.
Yeah, but
I don't have the wig. I could say I changed my hair or something.
see, Logic led me to believe that you lived in Toronto. I was very upset to find out that you did not.
Lodge.
No,
You
I
did-
thought that was.
And you know what's funny? I've shown that video to other people, and they were like, he's right. Toronto smells. And I remember asking him. I was like, "Do you live in Toronto or anything?" He's like, "No." And I'm like, "How do you know it smells?" Because everybody that I talk to about Toronto, they say it smells, and that you're right.
No,
He's
Toronto
like, "No."
doesn't. Toronto doesn't smell. Hamilton smells.
Is there
Okay,
a paper mill there or something?
They just have a lot of industrial areas there.
Oh, all right.
Guys, let's
all
take
I
some
gotta check on
questions from the
I gotta-
audience real quick.
I gotta check on the laundry, so I'll be right
Okay.
back.
Okay.
right. Okay.
Let's see. A couple of birthday wishes. Thank you.
I love her
Um,
photo.
Jason,
that's
you can always
horrifying.
go to the La Brea Tar Pits. I've been there and I love it. You guys don't have to comment on this, but I just looked up the wood the Bible said they use for the ark is gopher wood, Toriaxa taxifolia, which is an endangered coniferous tree. Are there even coniferous trees in the Middle East? Yes, there are, but they're up in the mountains.
They exist, and apparently the whole thing was supposed to happen in the mountains, and it all finished in Turkey in the mountains, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, it was a mountain
Ararat.
people. Yeah, it was a
Now,
mountain.
I am someone who does believe that there may have been a catastrophic flood in that area.
Well,
Not a
Well, you-
worldwide flood, but a natural disaster.
Well, one thing that God Rules said was that people aren't stupid enough to make up a worldwide flood unless it actually happened. But before the digital age, there's no way anybody could have known that it was worldwide. Now, there are a lot of flood myths around the world because I'm sure a catastrophic flood was extremely scary and hard to understand.
And it probably happened on a fairly regular basis depending on where you lived.
And there were a few times when Greek, Persian, and even before that, like Sumerian towns were completely washed out by the sea. And there's no way they could have understood how that could have happened. The tsunami or a tidal wave wasn't a thing back then in science, right? They didn't understand what it was. But there's no way they could have imagined that it was worldwide. There's no way they could have known.
Their whole world was that area.
Exactly.
Let alone get kangaroos.
No, there's no way they could have known that. And here's the real nail in the coffin, is that some people claim that even the Native Americans have flood stories. Let's grant that that's true. None of these flood myths match up chronologically. No. None of them. They're all.
None of them, the problem with the entire thing is
people would colonize near water because it was a source of water.
Well, obviously, yeah.
And when it would flood, it would fucking scare the shit out of them.
Yeah. I mean, the story of Atlantis is actually kind of a mishmash of a few different stories, and they've actually found quite a few villages in what would have been flooded sediment. That they could have said that it was easily like the story of Atlantis. And there's another one recently that's been discovered that was actually kind of in the Greek islands, and it's possible that the Egyptians actually knew about this and they had hieroglyphs about it, and that it actually was washed out by the sea. But that being said, again, none of these stories match up. Chronologically.
Yeah.
Well, none of their arguments really make. You can shoot down every creationist argument with science, and now philosophical arguments are being shot down with science. The big,
you're just wrapping
morality.
it in a science wrapper.
Well, I mean, no, but I mean, let's take morality for example. They claim that morality, you can't say where morality comes from, but scientists are showing that morality, our deepest part of our morality, may be something that was handed to us by our ape ancestors, because they're seeing basic morals, very basic morals, in chimpanzee societies and in gorilla societies. They're not exactly like us, but they have those things. And the question is, if they're right, if creationists are right, why did God give chimps a basic morality, a basic fairness? They have a system of sharing.
Yeah. I made this exact same.
Chimp Jesus? Yeah. No. It has to be something that they developed. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Do you guys know the Idol Smasher?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I'm sure Armored Skeptic knows him.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's a No, he accepts evolution, but doesn't. I don't know. I'm confused. He doesn't want to accept the label ape. And I tried to explain to him that that's just a taxonomic label, and it's also a morphological description.
Chug.
and
Don't make fun of my soda.
He absolutely refused to accept it because he didn't understand that apes have a lot of the same general. I mean, their thought processes are obviously not the same as ours.
No.
But they do understand quite a bit. They when they see their faces in a mirror, they do understand that they're looking at themselves.
They're self-aware.
Yeah.
They have emotional states. What should really be bothering him isn't that something that's so closely related to us and shares so many traits in common and shares the same DNA and genetic lineage that should be the problem. It's when people say, you know what we've noticed? Elephants are self-aware. When someone says that when they did the spot test on elephants, on wild African elephants.
I've seen an elephant paint a picture of an elephant.
They
know what they are.
Elephants are incredibly smart, and I think that morality is a byproduct of severely highly intelligent social animals.
Okay, so full disclosure, I'm not an evolutionary scientist or a biological scientist, but it's kind of my latest passion, just because again I'm trying to make up for all the time I've lost. But I've kind of found that when I reverse engineer what we call morality, it actually starts with empathy. And empathy is actually something that we learn when we're children, and we learn to read. We learn to read each other's emotions through facial expressions.
I have to say that's only kind of true.
Well,
The physical parts of the human brain that control empathy don't develop in a child. In other words, they lack the capability of empathy until they're about 3 years old. That's why the terrible twos are so terrible,
right?
Because they know enough. They know enough language, and they're mobile.
And they're manipulative.
They do not have any idea that the people that they're dealing with have emotional states like they do.
Right, which is why when we're children, our sense of morality is if we don't do this, we get in trouble.
Yeah, but after the age of 3.5, 4, without anyone telling them, without anyone instructing them, this is how you do things, they develop the part of their brain that processes empathy, that allows them to be empathetic, comes online, and after that they change.
Right, which is kind of what I was trying to say, is that it starts with the development of empathy, and then what happens is we learn to read facial expressions and then base our decisions on what kind of emotions that we track out of our decisions that we create. And what scientists have done, I don't know any, I can't name a specific scientist or a specific test or anything, but they found that these facial expressions are present in our ape cousins, and that and then other apes can actually read those expressions off of each other and make decisions based on the expressions that are being created in their fellow apes based on their decisions.
Now here's the interesting thing about that. Our ability to read faces are in our genes.
Yeah.
Because there are people who are born where that part of the brain is disabled. It's called facial blindness.
Oh yeah.
People cannot recognize people's faces. Our brains are wired to recognize faces. We have an amazing ability to be able to tell the differences between, I think it's somewhere around 15,000 different faces that we're exposed to, and we can recognize someone right away, even if we've only met them 2 or 3 times.
Do you know if they figured out the gene that is connected to that?
No, they know the area of the brain where that's processed.
But they don't know for sure that it's a genetic thing?
They know for certain it's a genetic thing because people are born that way.
Okay, so they just haven't actually tracked the gene that is responsible for
Exactly.
Okay.
But you want to know there's another animal that knows how to recognize faces, and it's not faces within their own species.
Dogs.
Dolphins.
Dogs.
Oh,
Dogs
dogs.
can recognize human faces because they've been with us for so long.
Yeah. Do you know how I know that? Is because I've had several dogs in my lifetime, and they know how to use those facial expressions against us to get their way.
But it's also how they read how we're feeling.
Right, yeah.
And that became important to them as they've basically sewn themselves into our existence. If we don't exist anymore, they are going to have a really hard time.
Oh, by the way, did you see that Cosmos with Neil deGrasse Tyson where he talked about how dogs became domesticated?
I saw that. Yeah.
That was so fucking cool the way he described it. Now, I've heard it before, but the way he put it was just so eloquent.
Yeah.
So
the way you can tell the difference between a dog and a wolf, even a dog that is very wolf-like, dogs look you in the eye.
Right.
Wolves don't. They
Yeah,
don't look at you.
Richard Dawkins wrote a paper too on domestication of dogs, and it's really interesting. I don't know if you actually want to read it, but there's actually
put it in the chat, a link.
There's, if I can find it, I will. If not, I'll just Skype it to you guys. But there's actually an audio recording of it too. What happened is there was this group somewhere in Europe. I want to say Russia, but I'm not going to say that definitely. What they had done is they had these specific type of gray fox that they were using to create coats and skins and stuff.
Yeah, I heard about that. I did hear about that.
Just as an experiment.
This is in Russia.
Yeah, it was in Russia. Okay, good. So just as an experiment, what they wanted to do was see if they could kind of coax the...
they wanted to breed out the aggressiveness.
Right. So what they wanted to do was coax out all the aggressive ones and then create happy ones. So what they did was they'd find ones that were less aggressive and more passive, and ones that were actually looking for attention from humans. And what they would do is breed those ones specifically. And within, 20 generations or 20 years, sorry, 20 years.
The others became coats. They became the angriest coats ever.
No, even the good ones became coats.
I know.
It was a sad thing. So what had happened was, not only did they find that within 20 years, I think it was, not generations, 20 years, was that that a certain percentage, say like 15-20% of them, were not aggressive anymore, but they found out that there were actually these other side effects.
Physical changes, yeah.
Physical changes. They ended up having more uniform coats. Like, they ended up having more, like, instead of being all like gray and smoky looking, they were all one color. And they'd end up having spots or streaks or stripes, kind of like in the domestic dogs we see today. Their tails were no longer down, they were up, they would wag them, and their entire facial shape changed, too, to be a lot more friendly looking. So they discovered that all the traits that we have in domestic dogs today were actually genetic side effects that started off with looking for a type of animal that was nicer, and it turned out that it ended up being nicer looking as a side effect, and that was...
Yeah, there's a lot, when it comes to artificial selection, there's a lot of things that weren't intended. Have you ever noticed how many domesticated food animals are white?
Yeah, well, that actually is intended, and I'll tell you.
Is whiteness intended? I thought that was a side effect.
No, it is an intention in certain animals, like chickens, for example.
Well, it's like geese, turkeys, chickens, ducks.
You just named
lab rats.
You just named mostly foods. So okay, what I'll explain here is, when you get a white animal, you get white meat. So they've actually developed those animals because they not only grow faster and create more meat, but the meat is white, and that's more appealing to the palate to see white meat. Here in Canada, we actually have this huge thing called a reclamation of heritage chickens, for example. Now, I actually I live on a farm, and I live within a farming community. Just outside of a city. Actually, I live in Kingston, Ontario. So there's a lot of domestic farms around this area, and a few of them, like one of the guys that used to take care of my horse for me, he had a bunch of heritage chickens. They're a lot harder to find, for one. Yeah. The eggs they lay, for example, are not white. So when you find an egg that's not white, it's
hard to find. It's also hard to find on the ground.
Exactly. So these heritage chickens, the reason they've been phased out is because they don't grow as fast, they don't create as much meat, they don't lay eggs as often, the eggs they lay are smaller. So that's the reason why you're starting to see more and more of these white animals, is because their meat is more appealing to our eye, and they actually create bigger, faster...
See, I thought it was just a side effect from the traits that they were looking for. I had no idea that the whiteness was actually connected to other body processes.
It's possible with certain breeds that it is a side effect, but for the poultry, that I know for sure that it's actually been created that way, designed that way specifically.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
See, as far as I'm concerned, the argument about evolution was over when DNA was discovered.
Oh, definitely.
Once they discovered the mechanism and the process, the very thing that was theorized, which was there has to be something in the individual cells that can mutate to cause these mutations that Darwin was speaking of. Once they found it and once they mapped it, that's it. It's over. That's the end of the argument.
One thing I will say, though, is that the human genome, we have one less chromosome than our ape cousins.
It merged.
And it's because they merged. Now, that is the only leg that creationism has left to stand on. Is
one chromosome.
Is that we have two chromosomes that merged into one, and we can't
find exactly where they merged, though.
We can find where they merged, but we can't exactly describe how it happened yet. So that's the only leg they have left.
Radiation.
All I have to say is that all that proves is that it's possible aliens came, found us, and made us humans out of apes. That's all.
I don't think that's.
And exactly, that's less likely than an ethereal sky daddy came and did it for us.
Yeah.
You think that's less likely?
Yeah, it's less likely.
Oh.
My thing is, if aliens came and did whatever, then why did they leave?
Well, my thing is, why would they leave no evidence? It makes sense why an ethereal sky daddy would leave no evidence, but why would aliens leave no evidence? There's
A lot of
literally
people like to take the Star Trek view, which is they came, they started us on our way, and then they'd come back and check on us. It's still bullshit, no matter what, because I find all of those theories so insulting.
Is that
I don't know.
To the
Maybe
human
it's
race.
just me, but I think that the idea of, of aliens existing and
Aliens
that, that's-
existing, I don't have a
It's so
problem.
infinitely more likely than a god existing.
No, here, finite aliens do exist. It is
Yes.
it is a statistical impossibility.
Yeah.
that
There
there
are
be
more
That's
than
what I
likely
mean.
aliens
That's what I
living
mean.
in our own solar system.
We don't even know how big our universe is. There could be universe forever and galaxies forever. Our theory of the Big Bang right now suggests that our universe is finite, but we can't prove that yet. So it's possible that it does go on forever and that its time is as infinitely ancient. So I mean, we could be the end, we could be the beginning, we could be anywhere in between.
Mm-hmm.
Life does exist elsewhere.
But that's what I mean. I'm saying that if life does exist and it happens to be nearby, that's what I'm saying. Is it's infinitely more likely that we came about as a result of something like that.
It's more likely that you'll win the lottery 70,000 times in a row than it is that life does not exist.
What I think will be interesting, if it happens, is if they manage to find either living things on Mars, something down deep under the soil where it's still damp and relatively warm, and it turns out that they have the same DNA as we do. Because if that's the case, then the panspermia... No, but it's not in the Bible. That's the problem. They'll have to manufacture a shit ton of stuff to explain away how we have the same DNA.
You know what, Jason? There is these theories out there that the fallen angels existed
from Mars?
on other... Yeah, existed... No, not just on Mars. On Saturn, on Venus, on Mercury. That they're not only were from there, but are still there. And
now you're just a Mormon.
They use basic pattern recognition. Like one of the moons around... Oh, I don't want to say Saturn for sure, but it's... I can't remember.
It's Europa. And it's around Jupiter.
And it looks like the Death Star. And they want to use that as proof that fallen angels exist.
Oh, no, that one is Saturn. And it's not Europa. I thought you were talking about the ice world Europa that has liquid seas under it.
No. I'm talking about one of the moons around Saturn.
Oh, yeah, I know the one you're talking about. I just can't remember the name.
Oh, trust me, I came from the deepest, darkest, most fucked up version of Christianity that ever existed.
Wait, did you tell us which in any of your videos, or?
Not yet, no. I'll probably...
okay, all right.
I want to do one of these rant videos eventually where I'm just going to have like a video. Like I have a lot of GoPro videos of me riding my horse. I'll just show that and then talk about my past.
Wear the helmet.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'll wear the helmet, yeah.
And say yippee-ki-yay.
I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, when you're done with your rant, now I've got to go, partners. Yippee-ki-yay! And then right off.
Anyways, yeah, I'll talk about that eventually, but
I'll be right back.
The kind of the form of Christianity I came from was kind of more of a messianic Jew kind of Christianity. But we believed anything and everything that would prove the Bible true, which would mean that life existed anywhere within our solar system. Satan is Saturn, not that he lives on it. He is Saturn.
Oh wow!
Yeah, there's a couple of patterns on Saturn, like on the top, on the north pole of Saturn. There's a perfect pentagon. There's a perfect pentagon. And then on the south pole of Saturn, it looks like the all-seeing eye, on your dollar bill, for example.
I did not know.
Oh, that reminds me. I'm a huge Star Trek fan, and I was just rewatching the animated series. They did an animated series after the original one that was on TV.
I've seen it. Yeah, it's terrible.
And there is an episode of that show in which they encounter aliens that had encountered Earthlings before, and they pretended to be gods. on Earth, and one of these, was Satan. And in this show, he was a nice guy. His actions had been misinterpreted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was I was this was a show that was made for children that was on Saturday mornings in the early 70s, and they basically said, "Oh no, Satan exists, except he was an alien, and he was actually a fairly decent guy."
That tracks with the Gnostic view. If you reread Genesis, Satan is the good guy. He's the one that tells the truth in Genesis, and God is the asshole that tries to hide the truth from us. And the Gnostics believe that the Satan, in the form of the snake, was actually the one that freed us from the mind bondage that God had us in.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually makes a lot of sense if you read
there is you know how everyone's doing these new things, like Maleficent is out now, where it's supposed to be telling Maleficent's story as to why she's perceived as evil. They did the same thing with Wicked, with the Wicked Witch of the West.
Right.
It's really easy to do with Satan.
Yeah.
Because we are only getting one side of that story.
So
yeah.
Glinda was a lying bitch.
Yeah. She
I don't know how you can get home, and then at the end of the movie, just click your heels together. Oh.
I don't. Here's the thing. I'm a huge book fan of The Wizard of Oz, and I don't like the movie, the musical. I like the musical for what it is, but I don't consider it accurate. And Glinda is a conglomeration of two different characters. In the first part, she's Glinda, and she meets them, and she says, "How do I get home?" And when she says, "I don't know," we never see her again. And then she has to go to someone else who tells her, "Oh, well, you can click your heels 3 times." In the sense of the book, no one's misleading her intentionally. In the movie, she just comes off as this dizzy gaming broad who sends her off to go kill someone for her, and then tells her how to get home, which I'd never agreed with. But I think there's a book in there definitely about how Satan has been badmouthed by the guys in charge.
I kind of got lucky as far as like religious upbringings go. My parents could never agree on a church to go to, so we didn't have to go to church.
That's good. That's good.
Well, it's because my mother was the kind of Christian who believed in speaking in tongues and things like that.
She was Pentecostal.
And
oh no.
I guess.
That's Pentecostal. They're basically the only church that actually believes that speaking in tongues means anything.
Well, see, that's what my mom believed, but my dad was like, no, because it freaked him out, and he was like, no, we're not going, no.
So he's basically any other kind of Christian then.
Yeah.
You know what I think is the weirdest mixed bag? Catholicism. I was born Roman Catholic. I was baptized, but it's really weird because the Roman Catholic Church fully embraces science.
Are your parents still Catholic, by the way?
No, my mom passed, and my dad. We're from South Dakota, so that would make us Lutheran. From around there, but we were never terribly religious. I had it easy. I was allowed to make up my own mind.
What about the rest? What about the rest of your immediate family, though?
I think my brother is, but I don't really talk to him that much.
And
my other 2 brothers went on they did those not pilgrimages, where they would go down to Mexico and build houses.
What the fuck is that called?
Yeah, I can't remember. But they weren't doing it for religious reasons. They were doing it just to get away and to go to another country and goof off and be away from the parents for a little while. Missionary work, I guess.
Like the sex.
Yeah. And but I was allowed to grow up believing, when I was a kid I believed in God. And then as I got older, I kept adjusting my beliefs. At one point I was like, well, I'm religious, but I don't believe in religion. I don't believe in organized religion. I think it's corrupt. And then as I got older and older, and the more I researched, I could gradually become an atheist. There was no traumatic event or soul searching or struggling or anything like that when it came to me. It's one of the reasons why people who are religious and bound to a church are so aggressive about it sometimes, because I think in the back of their mind they know that if a person is left to their own devices, they come to basically the same conclusion. That it turns out there is no God.
Yeah. I mean that's basically what happened to me, but in a much different order.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very different order. My family, when I grew up, we weren't super religious, but I mean, my extended family was, and so I was never discouraged from believing. And whenever I would ask my parents about religion, they would always give me an answer like they believed that it was true. So I was always led to believe it was true, but I was left to my own devices. So, I mean, when the internet was invented, obviously I spent my entire time on the internet trying to figure out what my place was in the universe, and religion is what I found. And I never believed in organized religion as well. So, I mean, I've always considered myself an independent, but there's a lot of terrible rabbit holes to go down on the internet.
Most of the people that I've met all say pretty much the same thing. I believe in something.
Yeah.
And they won't define it. I've always said, well, I'm going to create the church of something and make $1 million, and then I realized that's the Unitarian Church.
Yeah, that is the Unitarian Church. Yeah.
Well, I don't think I'd be an atheist if I wasn't a schizophrenic first, because, I mean, religion wasn't really any sort of big part of my life. It wasn't anything that I really thought a lot about or took very seriously. It was just there, and I thought it was like a given. So
this is absolutely no judgment, or I don't even want to be making any kind of analogy about what schizophrenia is. But
you can ask me whatever you want.
I used to be a huge pothead, and my friend became schizophrenic around the same time I was a pothead, and the kind of conversations we would have would mesh up pretty well. And the kind of thinking he would experience was kind of the same experience thinking I would experience when I was super high too. And I could see why being a schizophrenic would lead you to atheism. Not that I would say that I ever understood it, but I can say that I understand sort of why the schizophrenia would help you down that road.
My way was the exact opposite. My OCD kept me tied into it.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, my next video is going to be about that.
I want you to do a video about OCD because since I've met you, you've talked about it pretty much in every single conversation we've had.
Yeah,
almost obsessively about it.
Yeah, well, okay. So, I mean, I'll just say a little bit here. The type that I was diagnosed with was obsessional obsessive compulsive disorder. If you Google it, you can find out just a little bit about it, where it's essentially the most magical thinking you can possibly have. You think that, and this is why I really feel for I know a lot of people don't feel for TJ when he makes videos about his life, but he made a video a couple of months ago about some of the things he experiences having anxiety, and I felt really bad for him listening to it because I knew exactly what he was talking about. So it's like this. I walk into a room, and it doesn't really happen much anymore, but I believe everyone in the room hates me, that they can read my mind and that they know what I'm thinking, and that they're judging me based on that. And any look, stare, movement, or conversation that's ended abruptly, no matter what the reason, I'm automatically thinking that it is my fault and that I've done something wrong.
That sounds like my thinking of late.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do demonstrate that on occasion, and you say so out loud.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is, me saying it out loud is a way of dealing with it, of just kind of cutting the shit and saying, within the past 5 years, I've overcome quite a bit of it, such that my diagnosis has been reduced to generalized anxiety disorder. I can. There are occasions where I can daydream for hours while I'm, say, working and not even realize that I'm doing it. And I know that it's not real. I acknowledge that it's not real. But when, say, like, I get into an argument with somebody, I will constantly go over the argument in my head over and over again, wondering what I did wrong. And then thereafter, I'll go and talk to the person and be like, "Are you still mad at me?" And they'll be like, "I was never mad at you."
What are you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, I was never mad at you. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I will worry about things that just don't matter at all. It doesn't, like I said, I feel much better than I used to. And it's very easy for me to get over anxiety. The panic attacks have virtually gone. They're gone.
Good.
And the first thing that I had to do was overcome the idea of blasphemy of the Holy Spirit is something that I constantly dealt with over time. And that is actually, if you Google what I was talking about, there is a section that talks about people who attribute all of their anxiety to the idea that they've somehow committed an unforgivable sin.
Well,
It's
one of the big problems with that thinking and that is that ultimately it's with something that can never forgive you in any meaningful way. And what I mean is, if you feel that you've trespassed against God and God is never going to give you an answer that says, I actually forgive you, you can easily fall into a loop that says that you all will always feel unworthy and not forgiven.
Yeah, that's the
when you've
problem
done
with
it.
there being so many denominations, is they all have a different idea of whether or not there is an unforgivable sin. And
Yeah.
even when I was sure that I was forgiven, I wasn't sure. Because there were still denominations out there that said, well, once you've committed this one sin, you're fucked either way.
Yeah, and the biggest part in overcoming that was being able to think what I wanted to think. And if I wanted to think, fuck Jesus, fuck God, fuck the Holy Spirit, it would cause me such anxiety that I was literally. Did you just pick your nose?
No, I had something in my mustache.
Oh, I was like, what the fuck? Is he doing that as a joke?
Oh, I should tell you, I'm drunk.
Yes, because
I'm drunk right
no,
now.
I have something. There's
And,
something right here, and I don't know what it is.
And
I'm hoping it's not dinner because that was like 3 hours ago.
So just blithely saying or even thinking something like that, like I just did, would cause me hours of anxiety and worry that I was going to hell. And then when it occurred to me, over the course of time, if I've thought it, I've done it, then what's the point? And then I realized, how could, if there is a God, he would be that petty over something so small that the idle words you say or think can destroy you. Can destroy you or burn you alive forever, or whichever interpretation you want to look at. And then I realized that there's a lot logically wrong with just the idea of God. And I think from there it devolved into me becoming a skeptic.
It's God is the most poorly made sweater ever, because all you have to do is pull out one thread and the whole thing starts to unravel. And a lot of the videos that I see,
I love Weezer.
a lot of the videos that I see by people who are the most vehement and the most offensive, they also, to me, look the most scared. They look like I think they pulled on a string and now they're desperate to put the sweater back together. And they will say and do anything to make it better, because for some people this is all they have. They can't imagine their world without the framework of faith. And sometimes they're a little too smart for their own good, and their thinking takes them down avenues that leads them to a conclusion that they'd rather not face. I'm not going to say that for certain, but there are a lot of people who, true faith means that you don't need to convince anyone else. You have it yourself.
Yeah.
You don't have, if you're secure in your faith, you don't have a need to run around and force everyone to feel and think the same way you do, because you have faith. You don't need everyone else to believe in the same God that you do. But if you are constantly, desperately trying to convince people that what you think is right, it kind of betrays a faithlessness, that there may be doubt there that you're trying to cover up. I equate it with the closeted gay people who turn to religion and then turn around and are the most anti-gay, homophobic people on the planet.
Yeah.
And they not only say, but they do horrible things. And And then it turns out that they're exactly that way, and it's because they know something about themselves that they're desperate to keep everyone else from thinking.
What was that term you used, finite, for latent? What was it? Latent homosexuality?
When was this?
It was in my comment section of one of my videos when I said it's likely that K radio guy was homosexual and didn't know it. You said you don't like to accuse people of latent homosexuality, or
Yeah, I've said
Yeah,
that.
I was
I've
gonna
said
say,
that too.
sometimes I'll joke about that, but the thing is, I don't idly do that until I discover that a person actually does something gay or says that they are, and you just don't really have a need to question it.
Yeah.
Even though there are quite a few studies that show that that's true.
Yeah, and
He
unfortunately,
may actually just hate gay people. That's it.
well, here's my experience: is that there's people that feel the same way, whether or not they're actually homosexual. But there are signs that you can see.
yeah.
I'm not. I'm what you could call a bisexual, I guess. I don't know what I am, and I don't care.
Yeah.
I just happen to be with a woman right now, and I'm cool with that. So what I would say is that I can see the signs of people who actually seem to be struggling with it internally and using religious reasoning to explain why it's not okay to be that way.
Mhm.
And with the one thing with that K radio guy is he seemed to want to express that he was okay with it, okay with people having those tendencies, but wanting to explain why it was not okay to do the gay things. And I could see that internal struggle within him, and I wouldn't want to.
Probably his parents. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, well, I'm sure his whole entire church was that way. I'm sure he was probably the most progressive person in his entire church. He's probably the nicest guy in his entire denomination. And that's why I feel a little bit bad about getting his channel banned or whatever happened to his channel.
I don't. Well, I mean, I'm not going to tell you how to feel, but I don't feel bad about it at all because I saw that coming. I saw it coming when I realized this was a lot like what happened to I Emanuela.
Yeah, not to speak not to inflate my ego in any way, but a lot of the flack that his channel got was not from your video, unfortunately, was from my video. And a lot of the people that ended up going over to his video were my subscribers, and it was the first action on YouTube that I've ever committed that actually got a subscriber base to go over and do something progressive, or sorry, something active against another account. And that's kind of why I feel bad about it, because that was never my intention.
Yeah,
but
it wasn't mine either.
Yeah, but I suppose in hindsight, it was kind of silly of me to think that wouldn't happen. But when I started on YouTube in my atheist account, like a lot of what I do is for entertainment. I just find the atheist community videos very entertaining. And when I came in with this Armor Skeptic character, I wanted him to be an entertainment as a base, but obviously I know a lot about science, so what I say is very to the point and accurate, and I like to refute points as well. So I don't want to just toss about a bunch of ad hominems out there. I want those ad hominems to be justified with the fact that I know what I'm talking about, and the person that I'm talking to doesn't know what they're talking about.
Well, it's not an ad hominem if you make a point and then insult somebody. It's only an ad hominem if it's
if it's just an insult video.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Ad hominem is if you don't make a point and say like, "Oh, well, your argument's stupid because you're dumb."
Okay.
Here's an ad hominem attack without naming names, and it was against two people who were in the atheist community. One decides to psychoanalyze someone, and come up, and based on their behavior in videos, come up with a psychological disorder that this other person has. The person making these statements does not have a degree in psychology. And as far as I'm concerned, if that is not your degree, and you're saying out loud on a video that this is what this person has,
Thunderfoot Coughlin.
stop it.
Sorry,
Enough
I'm sorry, I have a
people-
really
I
bad
already
cold.
have an intimate question for next week, which goes something like this.
Really bad
Hey,
cough.
Jason, why do you hate Thunderfoot? And I
Because
was
of
like,
Coughlin. Sorry, my cough is really
but
bad.
as
My
far
cough-
as I'm concerned,
my Coughlin
that's an
sounds
ad-
like Coughlin. Sorry.
that is an ad hominem attack,
yeah.
cloaked
That is-
in scientific sounding terms and sounding
Okay.
as rational as
Okay,
possible.
so
But that's all
you-
bullshit.
You don't have to say it. I'll say it. That video that Thunderfoot made saying that Coughlin has narcissistic personality disorder, that entire video was an ad hom.
Well, I personally wouldn't take any sort of psychological advice from Thunderfoot of all people. He's one of these jackasses who put out a video saying all religious people need are some antipsychotics.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what I'll say. I'm okay with somebody on the internet saying, oh, it seems from their video they might have some sort of a personality problem or a personality disorder. Or saying something like, oh, they seem to show tendencies of narcissism or something like that. But for Thunderfoot to come out and say, it's clear that Coughlin suffers from a personality disorder, and then for him to name exactly what that personality disorder is, and then for him to name the symptoms of that personality disorder, that entire thing is what I call an internet diagnosis, and that is entirely invalid. I'm okay with him saying, oh, it seems kind of like Coughlin might be a narcissist.
But
because
you have to. What I do is I boil it. I take away all of his pretty language and his reasonable sounding voice, and I boil it down to this. I'm right because this guy's crazy.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. That's an ad hominem attack.
Wait, Jason.
That's all it is.
Jason, didn't that crazy atheist guy already ask you, the flying atheist, ask you what you thought of Thunderfoot, and then your answer was I don't?
Yeah, I don't.
Was that not good enough?
No, I didn't. You know what? I get. I do pick up new subs all the time.
Right.
And everyone knows that the Dunderhead character started out as a commentary on Thunderfoot.
Side note, that is your ugliest puppet.
It is my first handmade puppet from scratch.
It is so ugly.
When he mentions, that's why I'm building a new puppet for him.
All right. Okay.
Because I love the character that he's turned into.
Yeah. Your basic fundy atheist, eh?
He's a fundamentalist. He's a very fundamentalist atheist. He's not dumb by any stretch of the imagination.
So what is he like? Kind of like a mix of Dawkins.
He's kind of a
and
mix of
Thunderfoot?
Dawkins. He's kind of a mix of Dawkins and Frasier.
Okay.
To be honest.
Not like Hitchens. Hitchens isn't in there at all.
No, because you know what? While Hitchens was erudite, I wouldn't necessarily call him.
He was anti-Islam. He was more anti-Islam.
He was very anti-Islam.
More than Dawkins is now.
Dunderhead. See, here's the thing. Dunderhead is more. He is an anti-theist.
Right.
I'll say that. He doesn't pick on one specific religion. He finds all of them to be that they need to be destroyed. And the whole thing about Dunderhead is that I love using him as a scientific, as the science prop. As science can be wrong sometimes. Science can, the great thing about science is that when it's wrong, it says, hey, everybody, we were wrong. Let's find out what we're right about. The thing that I like about science is that it's not, at its best, it's not dogmatic. It admits when it makes mistakes and it corrects itself as best as it can. But Dunderhead doesn't see things that way.
I love the name. Perfect.
Oh yeah, Dunderhead was a brilliant name, by the way.
Dunderhead. Well, there was a lot. There was a period of time in which Thunderfoot switched gears rather abruptly. And everyone had something to say, and a lot of people came up with a lot of different names for him. I was originally building that puppet as my Jesus stand-in.
Wait, when was this? What was the gear that he changed?
It's when he dropped. He went on the whole anti-Islam thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
When he started doing more anti-Islam videos than he was doing science videos, when he basically stopped doing creationist reaction videos, and when the whole Draw Muhammad Day thing really kind of took off, that's when the tone of his videos, because this is when I started noticing that, boy, he's really just slamming Islam, and he's really not making room to slam any other religions.
Not that I saw these videos in chronological order, but I know what you mean. I've seen his entire series. I went back and
the
watched
series,
all of
the creation. Why people laugh at creationist things? It's great.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of the reasons why I finally came out of theism was of him, which is why I have a lot of trouble hating him. But
I don't hate him. That's just it. I don't agree with him. That's the difference.
That's the thing that I get into is that one thing that I said in one of my first videos, I think it was in the Mustachioed Apologetics, was Richard Dawkins said that trying to organize atheists is like herding cats, and that is the one problem that we have as atheists, is that we try to fight as a community against theism in different ways, but none of us agree on anything, and that's kind of the problem. And you know what, you guys, I consider my dearest friends, all three of you.
Me too.
No, I'm serious. You guys, I love all three of you guys. I love Monkey Tail too. I love all three of you guys though. You are amazing. You're the reason why I'm an atheist today. Especially you, Jason.
How am I responsible for that?
No, because your puppets.
It's my fault?
Jason's all like, why are you blaming me?
Your puppets touch my heart. But no, honestly, like the reason why I'm an atheist today is because of both, especially Finite Atticus and Jason. But yeah, seriously, your deconversion series.
Thank you.
Helped me deconvert. But no, your series,
You're
Jason.
going to hell now.
No, I know. But no, your series, Jason, is why I'm an atheist today, and which is why I'm such a ridiculous fanboy, and why I took such offense. Which is why I took such offense to you getting upset that I became popular.
I'm not upset about that.
You shot yourself in the head, you asshole.
Only a little bit.
Anyway.
And I'm just a floating head.
So, anyways, we all disagree. Like,
believe me, you know what? Your new channel is easily my favorite. Right now.
Well, here's the question I've always wanted to pose to you. I think I've even asked you as an intimate question, but you didn't answer it.
Yeah.
What do you think of my first video, my video about Atheism Plus? What do you think about my whole experience going from theism to being an independent in every way?
How do you mean by what, the quality or the message?
No, the message of the video.
I thought it was fantastic.
So,
I try very desperately when I'm watching a video to not invest too much of my own emotion into things when I'm watching them. In other words, I try to take what the person is saying to me at face value. If I feel like I'm being lied to, then I get upset.
Here's the real issue that I get at, though, is that some of the people that you ascribe to the most, like Steve Shives, for example, have said that they're extremely pro-Atheism Plus.
Yeah.
But my personal experience with them was that it was a religion like any other religion, and that they tried to control my thinking like any other religion would.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons I haven't made a video about it.
I did an Atheist Plus commentary video.
Did you? What can you link me to it right now?
I made it into a pill. It was a commercial that I did. A long time ago.
Can you just put the link in the chat?
Yeah, I have like 300 videos, so I'm gonna have to find it.
I remember when that was.
You remember Atheist Plus was the pill that you took that was 100% dogma.
Right,
it was made from 100% dogma.
Here's the thing.
That's how I felt about it.
Here's the thing. Okay, so I've seen what Steve Shives said about Atheism Plus, and I agree with what he said. And what he said was the message they portray is a great message, and he's behind it 100%, and so am I. Except for the problem is that in practice, the people who are behind the movement are not actually behind the message that they've displayed.
Right.
And Richard Carrier, who's basically the poster child of Atheism Plus, he said in his inaugural speech that they're not above criticism, they're not above discussion, they're not above questions.
But guess what?
Yeah.
But every single question, every single criticism, every single qualm that I had, even though I would agree with the overall thesis of a blog or the overall thesis of a video, if I had one little contention about that video, I was called a rapist, a misogynist, an asshole. I was called the worst scum on the earth because I didn't agree with one little point.
You remember what Oswald said to you when he shouted you out.
Yeah, that they're accused from both
I said,
sides.
skeptic, huh? You're going to get attacked from both. I hope that armor's thick because you're going to get attacked by both.
Do you know what is funny? Because I created my Armor Skeptic, what was it? My Twitter account, like 2 days before you shouted me out.
Yeah.
Immediately, the guy who created the Blockbot and like 3 people on Atheism Plus said, "Oh, the rule about skeptic applies," meaning what they meant was that we're against Atheism Plus. And they immediately dismissed me as a misogynist and an asshole and an anti-feminist and a men's rights activist, and I'm not any of those things. I'm not any of those things. I'm a nice guy. Like my girlfriend will tell you.
Being skeptical. Here, I got accused of those same things because they want to lump their enemies with negative traits. It's what you do whenever you create a dogmatic group.
Right. And it's so group-minded.
They don't know anything. I was raised by lesbians, for Christ's sake. How could I not be a feminist when I grow up? You know, and the thing is,
that's the thing is by definition, feminist means something completely different than what they're projecting as well.
What they want to believe is anybody that will not put the label feminist on themselves is anything but.
They want to slap an A plus on an armband and put it on your arm, and you have to step in line. And dude, I don't do that. I don't do that for
Compulsory
anybody.
agreement is not free thought. I've been saying that since they popped up.
And that's why they don't like skeptics, is because here's the thing. The reason why I don't identify as an atheist is because I don't believe don't believe it applies to me. And I also believe that when it boils right down to it, skeptics question everything.
Right.
Even their own beliefs.
Which is the problem that I find with most people who are in the Atheism Plus or Free Thought Blogs group or even the Skepchick group. The Skepchicks have the name skeptic in their name, but yet they will not accept skepticism of any kind.
No.
Which brings me to the point where Steve Shive says he's behind what they say, and I agree with that. I'm behind equal rights and equal beliefs of everyone, and you know whether race, creed, sex, anything. But that's not the practice that they practice at all.
No.
Exactly.
No, and see, that's why I didn't have a problem with what you said in your video.
Okay.
But here's the thing. I try not to be critical of what other people's beliefs. The reason why my show is called Opinion-Ville is because everything that everyone talks about is just an opinion.
Right.
That's all it is.
You know, that brings me a lot of comfort because I thought even since the beginning, that one video of mine is probably the whole reason why you and I were not like besties.
You need to have more autumnal in Opinion-Ville.
Here, I'm going to give you guys the reason as to why we weren't besties, and that is because for the last 5 years, I've had something else in my life that was more pressing. And I could not dedicate the amount of time that I would normally do. It's not until this year that I felt comfortable enough to be able to go on Hangouts and invite myself, say, hey, do you want me to come out? Because all of a sudden I discovered that I had 3,000 fans, and there were people who liked me, and and all that other stuff. But I just didn't. I was in a hospital for most of that time, So I was cut off to a certain point on purpose because I just couldn't dedicate the time that I had. Just enough time to make really cheap videos at work. And there was carryover for that for when I came back. But now that I've discovered that I can make them from home and I can invest more time in them, the show's going to change. And it has been changing steadily this year. And, my availability has changed. Steve and I have been talking about doing something together for a little while, and it had been in the back of my mind for a long time. I just didn't have time to do it.
Jason, we all love Ariel.
I know.
We all miss her. We all miss her dearly.
I know.
We all see her in you. She made you a better person. She made you a better person, and we see that in you.
See, I couldn't go on YouTube and shoot down people of faith, because there were a lot of people of faith in my regular everyday life who were decent people. Who I'll give you an example. Sister Bernice, who was the chaplain at Children's Hospital, knew that I was a skeptic. She thought I was an atheist, but same difference. She never once forced me to pray. She never once asked me to pray. She never once made me feel uncomfortable for my beliefs or feelings. She never wanted to take me aside and have a discussion about God or anything like that. She was respectful. She was a wonderful person, and I count her as one of my closest friends. And she is a person of deep faith. And it's one of those things where it's like, why can't more people be like her? Why can't more people of faith be like her, non-judgmental and more open?
Though? She felt the pain. She felt the pain that we all felt. And you know that one video that you had where you're showing her sleeping in bed in the hospital, and you're talking about how she wanted you to pull over and give money to a homeless person, and she gave her own money to that homeless person, and you said that she's a better person than you are. Yeah. She is who you are, Jason. You are her, and she is you, and she lives on through you. As cheesy as that sounds, every characteristic she has is the characteristics that you and your wife gave her. And she's a beautiful gift to the earth, and you are the one who molded that gift. And all that shows is that you are a beautiful human being.
Oh, thank you. Now I wish this wasn't a live broadcast. I'm embarrassed. Thank you.
Aw.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't think I've ever had that type of effect on anyone.
No, and likely you never
don't
will.
Say that.
And no, likely we never will, because
I have to bite my tongue a lot.
Because a person
I bite my tongue a lot.
A person like Ariel is really rare, and a person like Jason is just as rare. And we're all lucky to know him, and we're all lucky to be friends with him. I still to this day kind of slap myself thinking that I'm friends with somebody as genuine and beautiful as Jason.
Well, I feel that way too. It's really funny because just within the last, I would have to say, the last couple of months, I didn't really appreciate what I had in YouTube. Not really, not fully. And this has helped a lot. Queenie knows, because Queenie and I were talking. We were calling each other on our cell phones and stuff until things got really, really hectic and bad.
I miss doing that.
I know. Well, it was mostly me just trying to get you to move out here. That's all it was.
Oh, did I give you my new number though?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Yeah,
because I want to make sure you have it, because I took your number off of my old phone. So.
Did you?
Yeah,
okay,
I'm not gonna lose your number.
Okay, good. But I was, how happy I was to know that you had moved out of Kansas, because I honestly believe that living there was detrimental to you. Since you've moved, the change in you has been very dramatic.
Really?
As far as
I still think my videos are lame.
Not
your
everything
videos
about
are
you
cute.
has changed.
No, your videos are cute.
awesome.
Oh
They're
yeah?
cute. Very
Because I
cute.
really wish I had more intellectual things to say, but
No,
it's kind of like,
here's the thing about intellectualism is that it's poppycock and it is ego. I'm an intellectual and I recognize that I'm an asshole because I'm an intellectual.
but
That
you're
is
a dapper asshole.
Here's the thing: it's not the average person to be an intellectual. It doesn't make you a better person in any way to be an intellectual. It just makes you a
I
different.
just want to be a smartass.
No, just be yourself. Fuck.
Be yourself. You are smart.
Shut the fuck up and be yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best advice ever. You know that comment you left on that video where I was kind of like agonizing over my name because, like,
Yeah,
I thought that was
were
the
you just
best comment ever.
were you just placating to me, or were you being honest about that?
No, like you said it, and I was like, "Isn't that why I did that?" And
Yeah,
and
that's
it
what
was
I
kinda
thought.
Like,
That's what I thought. I thought you
'cause I
took the name.
remember-
I thought you took the name Schizophrenic Queen because you wanted to own who you are and show the world, fuck you, this is who I am, deal with it.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
thought.
and the thing is,
It's
I
very
ended up getting-
confrontational. It is. You
I-
can't.
And not
you know,
only
I-
that, it's pure confidence.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not really a confident person,
No,
really.
you're confident.
You wouldn't be
But,
making YouTube videos if you weren't a little confident.
Yeah.
I'm a narcissist.
Well, everybody that
No.
makes YouTube videos has a personality disorder of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
You just need to
mine's on
deal.
display.
You
I'm
just
gonna
need
have
to
that
deal
in
with
the
that
online
and own it. The point is own it. Own it.
But like, I remember when I was first diagnosed, because like I didn't know what schizophrenia was until I got it, and it was like, "Ah." And I'm looking into all this internet shit, and I was like, well, if I'm gonna have this disorder, I want to be the boss of it.
Yeah.
So I was like, schizophrenic queen just sort of popped out. And like, I don't know why it wasn't schizophrenic some other thing, like mayor or president.
I'm the schizophrenic mayor. Goodness gracious me!
That was good.
Amazing.
Oh, Jason, by the way, you're the acting mayor. You should create a real mayor eventually.
That's never going to happen. That's going to be the joke.
You have to. You have to create some sort of mayor that is fucking hilarious. You have to do it.
Eventually, there's going to be a larger backstory to Opinion-Ville. Right now, there's only one backstory to Opinion-Ville, so...
Which
I
is
have
what?
to-
Which is what? Sum it up for me.
The backstory for Opinion-Ville is that I'm the only human in Opinion-Ville,
Well, we know that.
and I can't get out.
Cause your wife will never appear on camera. We
No,
know.
she won't. She will never, ever appear on camera. That is
Plus,
very
I'll
true.
probably never see California in my life, so you probably never point a camera in my direction either.
The problem with my show is that there's a lot of fourth wall breaking. There's a lot of, I play very fast and loose with the rules.
Speaking of which, you broke the fourth wall like 3 times in your latest video, which is a record, I think.
I break it most during intimate questions.
Well, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. It's the discussions we're talking about.
No. Where did I break it? I broke it 3 times, really? Because I don't ever count them. I just write what I want to write.
You broke it literally 3 times in the last time.
What did I do?
I'm too drunk right now to discuss it.
Oh, I have to tell Atticus my evil plan.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
Another evil
Jesus.
I'll PM you each
There's
time
an
you do it.
there's an evil plan?
Yes! I already told Armor Skeptic, because I was asking his opinion on the idea.
Oh,
But,
okay. I won't give it away, Atticus, but it's the closest thing to a relationship you and I will ever see.
Oh, are you gonna make the 2 puppets fuck?
I was gonna do the dolls, and then I was gonna do a video where it's like Armored Skeptic walks over to the finite Atticus doll, and he's like, "Hey Atticus, you want to make out?" And then Atticus is all like, "Wait, why would you want to make out with me? I thought you were straight." And he's like, "Oh, it wasn't little sloppy makeouts between friends."
Queenie, you just said you won't give it away.
I'm giving it all away.
But I figured it out. I figured it out right from what he was saying. This is
And
live, you guys. You know that, right?
I don't give a shit. But then Finite Atticus is like, I don't think we should do that because I have a feeling we're under control of a malevolent force, possibly a teenage girl, and and then Armaskep is like, oh wow, what makes you think that? Is like, oh well, homosexual relationships are highly fetishized, especially by teenage girls or whatever, and then and then like
Queenie, you have to link to the videos that Atticus and I collabed with, so that people will understand the context of the entire conversation.
yeah,
But it fits in perfectly. It fits in perfectly with what we did together.
yeah, but I was gonna have it end with like, oh, that makes like Armaskip is like, oh, that makes me feel kind of icky, and then like, oh, don't feel bad. I hear that teenage girls are extremely like powerful or whatever, and have it end with, so you wanna? No, Armor Skeptic, I'm not gonna make out with you. No, nachos. You wanna go get nachos?
But for the record, I would have sex with Atticus.
Oh,
I wish I had a penis so I could
you
have
have to
sex
wear
with
that helmet.
I think I'm more of a top than a bottom, but I'd bottom for you.
Oh.
Oh, that's the most adorable. I'm gonna
You
go.
know what? Hey guys, here's a reveal that people are only going to get exclusive on Jason's channel.
Oh, great.
I've never actually had anal sex.
Neither have I. That makes two of us.
You mean you've never received?
I've never received, no.
That's
See-
not. You know what? That's not uncommon.
Yeah, but you know what? The thing is, I think I would like to, but I just I just haven't found a yeah.
You know what, Atticus? I think I'd make you feel right.
Are we gonna have Google Plus sex?
But
Oh, Jason's like, shut this fucking thing down. Shut it down.
Just don't tell my girlfriend because she doesn't know that I'm bi. But yeah, that's fine.
And where is she right now?
Oh, she's been in Ottawa for the last 3 days, and she'll be in Ottawa until Sunday. So.
Oh Jesus, I'm going to
So
Canada
drive
now.
fast. Drive fast, man.
No, I can't. I will be near Canada at the end of July.
Guys, I have been around so many incredibly drunk gay men that nothing you guys have said is going to be able to shock me.
And
I'm not gay though. I'm not.
okay,
I'm not
fine, gay and
no,
bi men.
I
don't-
honestly I accept the Kinsey scale, even though it's whatever his study was flawed. I accept that as a
Deeply.
reality.
Here's the thing though. I'm not even sure that I'm bi. I would just be willing to have sex with a really good looking man, as long as he's really really good looking. And you know what, Atticus? He's one good looking dude.
Yeah, he is.
You've never seen me.
Yeah, fuck! I just told you that I've
How
seen
about the
you.
wedding pictures?
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot.
And the video you sent me personally of your first attempt at the
Oh,
homosexual
right.
use.
I hadn't cropped the screen with the
Plus,
thing. So.
let's not forget we've all seen your nips.
Oh.
Did he put lipstick on them? Oh,
No,
they put
no.
lipstick.
You haven't
No,
seen
that
the
would turn
video,
out-
Jason? So, oh yeah, right. You got to go back and watch all my videos now.
Yeah, I am.
You know
There's
what? If
only,
you,
there's only 30 of them, so.
That's good.
you know
See,
what?
the
If
problem I say is that, hey guys, watch my backlog. My backlog is gigantic. So
I've
it's
gone
kind of
back
like
about 100 videos, Jason. I got to tell you.
luckily, even though you've unlisted most of your videos, some of your best ones you've put in playlists for us.
Mhm.
Mm.
So I mean,
Because-
that's the most videos that I've seen of yours were actually unlisted in your playlist.
Well, some of them I put together because some, for example, the Fundy coming out playlist had to be put together because I drew that out over like a year.
Yeah, that was awesome. Your what was it? Something about lunch was your best video ever.
Something
ever.
about lunch.
Yeah, so you have a video that says something about like with lunch in the title. That is your best video, hands down, your best video.
What was it about?
I think Dunderhead might even be in it, but it's something about
I'm going to clap when I hear that from now on.
it's something about lunch. It was back when you called yourself the friendly atheist or something like that.
The positive atheist.
Sorry, I'm really drunk right now. But
That's all right.
positive atheist.
You're still very coherent.
Dunderhead was in it, and it's when Fundy was still had an internal struggle about his feelings. And
he was still very closeted.
Yeah, but every once in a while he would toss out something about boning a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, the conceit on that is that the only one that actually knew but wasn't saying anything about his sexuality was Gary.
Right.
And then by the end, everyone knew, because there is the one where Puppet Jason finally says, "Just come out already. We'll respect you more if you just come out." Mm-hmm. And that's what really started that whole. I decided, I don't want him to be. I don't want to do that stereotype anymore. I just didn't want to do the closeted, religious guy. Mm-hmm. And I thought I'd have a more interesting character if he was openly gay and a Christian conservative. Because which,
by the way, is your most brilliant creation ever.
He's also was the first breakaway character. He was the first one where people were like, "I want more Fundy Monster."
I love that you're fundamental, conservative, ultra conservative,
creationist,
fundamentalist, religious person is gay, because that is not only your ultimate fourth wall breaker, but it is what fully rounds your entire four-way conversation. It's what makes your conversation not one-sided. Because if he was fully fundamentalist and every other person was not, it would make your entire conversation a 3 against 1. But because he's gay, it is actually a 1 against 4 in every direction.
They are all 4 of them are oddly moderate when you get right down to the bottom
perfect.
of it.
It's almost genius. I don't want to call you genius, but it's almost genius.
Well, I mean, I have had a long time to work it out. That's the other thing, because this is basically one really long play done in short bursts. And so I've really been able to, like, when Gary first made his appearance, he was not a what we would consider a sexual deviant. He was not a sex positive, marital aid store owning character. That kind of developed naturally as I was writing the character, and I was like, well, yeah, why not? I'll just write this in and see if it applies. And a lot of them were like that. I mean, a lot of people want to assume that Puppet Jason used to be called Puppet Avatar Jason, because I used to have a bald head and a curled mustache.
No, you know what?
That's what I was asking about when you answered the question today. I was like, I've only gone back about maybe 100 videos in you.
Do you remember my first big shout out actually came from a YouTube user called The Rationalizer?
Here's the thing. When I actually saw that question come up live on the video before, and I wanted to answer it, and I wanted the answer to be Ariel. I wanted that to be clear, that the reason why that guy was bald is because that you were bald, and the reason you were bald was to support your daughter.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to ruin your answer for you.
Oh, all right. I
was shaving my head down to the skin. The first time she was diagnosed back in 2007, I did it every day for a year until her treatment was over, and then she said.
I think that was clear.
Oh my God.
Again, like I didn't see it chronologically because I wasn't an atheist at the time. But I've went back and I've seen all those videos, and I can see it's quite clear. The reason you shaved your head was so that your daughter wouldn't feel alone.
Yeah, well, there's a video up there of her actually shaving my hair.
Right. I haven't seen that one, but I mean,
wow.
When she relapsed.
It's pretty clear in the context that that's why you shaved, and that your puppet Jason is a memorial to your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean. That's why I think that you're such an amazing person, is that your avatar, your living avatar on your video is a memorial to your own daughter.
Yeah, he's the only one I don't do a voice for him. I just talk.
I don't
And,
know if I don't know if the problem is that I'm a genius or if I'm just like really neurotic about these things.
Yeah, I like to think that I'm a good father, but
I
that
think
that
I
right there
can.
is the shit. And you know what? The things that my kids do, they tend to show me that I'm doing well.
Hmm.
And my daughter, and she was watching, I believe she was watching TV, and she saw an advertisement for Locks of Love.
Yeah.
And she immediately said, because she has white hair, she has white and yellow hair.
Hmm.
She said, "Daddy, do you think that someone would love to have some of my hair because it's so beautiful?"
Hmm.
And I literally almost, it was like one of those ones where, one of those times where you almost just blubber into tears instantly.
Hmm.
And I held it back and said, "We can do that." And she had the prettiest, whitest hair that went down to her elbows, so really long. And
Hmm.
she gave up half of it to Locks of Love. And
Well, my wife organizes the St. Baldrick's charity out here, and you'd be amazed at the people who show up to shave every year.
yeah,
Even parents that have lost children, and they still come back every year and continue to do it. I grew my hair back the second time because Ariel asked me to, and so I went ahead and did it. And she didn't really want me to shave again. I did shave again last year as part of the fundraiser, and but it's amazing to see the age range of kids. Whole schools turning up to shave their head for one student in their class that has cancer and is having to go through that. And what I've noticed is a lot of the kids that are undergoing treatment just own it. They just own their baldness a lot of the
yeah.
time.
I can't
They,
imagine what that must feel like. Oh, Jesus. My son is 16, my daughter is 7, and just the thought of having a child going through something like that, I mean, just the thought of it's horrific. So you're
it's
you're
one of
you're
the
above
videos.
me by
If
leagues.
if I didn't, I'm not above anybody. There are hopefully, and I wish this for every parent, no matter who they are, is that they never have to go through that shit, ever. And
I, I
the
went
thing
through that
is,
I went through that one time with a cat and it destroyed me. I can't imagine it if it was another human being.
yeah, yeah, and the thing is that when you're on that ward, it doesn't stop. It never ends. I didn't know anything about cancer before, and now that I know everything about cancer, it is insidious. It
Well,
is
she
a
she had
it is a
small cell, right?
Yeah, she had small cell. What she had was rhabdomyosarcoma, which is
Which is basically unstoppable.
it's a very aggressive form of cancer.
Well, yeah, I'm sure calling it unstoppable is a farce, but I mean,
And
you
she's
know,
she's in remission at this point, or she's cancer free.
she's gone.
Who? She passed.
She
Oh, I
g-
thought you have another daughter, don't you?
I do. They were
Oh, okay.
twins.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I didn't catch that. I'm
no,
sorry, Jason. I'm catching up on a lot of your life right now.
no,
That's okay because it's not something that I generally talk about in the
in
videos.
actually all of his videos that talk about it are all unlisted
There is a
right
list.
now.
There is because there
Yeah.
were just some things that I,
Okay.
you
So when
know,
you say your daughter, I was thinking that you only had one, and that
No,
she was.
he has a daughter and he has a son, but
when
it's
I left YouTube for that period of months, I was not at work. I was in treatment. I was thoroughly depressed, and I just couldn't bring myself
as
to do
any
videos.
as any of us would be,
Yeah,
honestly, as any
Yeah.
of us would be.
and I realized that the videos were good for me, in a sense, but I just didn't want it to be a platform. There's a line that you draw. There's paying respect to people who have passed, and then there is the line where you're using their memory for things, and I just didn't want that to happen. That's why I don't mention her a whole lot, like every video. She isn't.
Unfortunately,
Mhm.
unfortunately for that thinking, she shows through in Puppet Jason in every way.
Yeah, and she shows through, and she is in every video. She
Yeah,
loved she
exactly.
loved Opinion-Ville. She really did.
But Puppet
And
Jason is her, you realize. She's more her than you.
In some ways, yeah. She was out of my 3 children, she was the closest to me personality-wise. Definitely. And
You're allowed to tell all your children that she was your favorite too, because well, I mean, she was clearly on your mind more, and I mean that's a recognizable trait in your Opinion-Ville segment.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I won't deny that, but there was a lot of me and her too.
Exactly.
There was a lot of that. So it was
which is why I said that when you said that she's a better person than you, she
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be the person that she is without you. You taught her all the things that you wish you could be, and she was that.
That's definitely my daughter.
Yeah,
Definitely.
see? And it's because I see myself in all of my children. There's no escaping that. When you raise kids, that's what happens.
By the way, your son seems like a well-rounded man. By the way,
he is, but he's also my son.
Yeah, well, I know.
There's lots of frustrating things.
There's always a rebellious nature.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to recognize that.
Right.
I think
You're not your father, so your son's not going to.
No. But here's the thing: I am my dad.
Yeah, but in the ways you wish you weren't.
No, not at all. I'm in the ways that my dad. My mom and dad got divorced when I was around 6 or 7.
Oh, I didn't realize that you were from a quote broken family.
Well, I did mention that I was raised by lesbians.
Yeah, I thought that was an awesome comment.
My mom and dad got
I thought
divorced.
You were always raised by lesbians.
My mom did not handle her sexuality very well. This was the 70s, and she was having affairs with men and women. In the divorce proceedings, my dad was filing for custody, but what he refused to do was to use my mom's sexuality in court to use it as a reason as to why she shouldn't get us. Wow. So she did get custody. My dad is the most decent person that I know.
Wow, that's an incredible thing to say.
Wow.
And I'll give you an example of who my father is. My dad can talk to anyone and be friendly. And he was like, oh, hey, I was down in, Joshua Tree National Park. I was they have a botanical gardens down there, and I was just sitting there, and I met this actor guy, and he was really interesting, and we just spent 3 hours talking about cactuses and gardens. What was his name? Oh, yeah, Tim Curry. And I had to stop for a second.
Oh my!
I had to stop for a second and picture my father talking to Tim fucking. I was in a Rocky Horror Picture Show troupe when I was in college, and I could not picture my dad just casually discussing gardening with Tim fucking Curry. Darkness himself from Legend. But that's who my father is. My father was in the Air Force. He was trained to kill people. Literally. His job was guarding nuclear, when he was in Greece, was to guard our nukes there. And his primary job...
My grandfather did that as well.
His primary job in the Air Force, he carried a special sidearm. And his job was that if the base was ever overrun, his first duty was to find the encryption guys and shoot them in the head so that they could not be captured.
That explains why you enjoy guns.
Well, that's part of it. I mean, it was part of the culture because I want to shoot people in the head. But my father is the most decent, most loving, most generous. He's never told me that he's never been any. I wanted to be an actor most of my life. I was starving as a comedian.
Jason, by the way, that is the most fucked up real life thing I've ever heard in my life.
What's that? We told that before on our second episode.
Yeah, that your dad was enlisted or
to murder people,
entrusted with the job to murder friendlies for the interest of the country.
Yeah,
that's fucked up. And you know what? If I wasn't extremely drunk right now, I'd be screaming at the top of my lungs.
Do you think that they knew that?
Well, the other part of the
code guys.
Oh yeah, because the encryption guys, the first thing they do is they find out who the person is that's supposed to do that, and he never had to buy a lunch ever. because they were ingratiating themselves to him.
Being an unconfirmed genius myself, I would know that I would be the first target if any shit would ever go down. In my city, I would be the first one to get popped in the head if anything bad went down. No, I'm serious.
Guy.
You know what though? I would gladly take that bullet, knowing that other people would survive because of my dad.
I'm thankful. My dad grew up in a very poor neighborhood in a very poor part of California, and he says this every once in a while. All of his friends from high school went to Vietnam. But because of where he went when he went into the Air Force and the training that he received, he never went to Vietnam during that entire conflict.
He's a lucky motherfucker then.
Yeah, he is, and he carries a lot of guilt around with him about it, I think.
My grandfather would have been on Normandy if he hadn't wrecked his knee in a football.
Yeah.
Wow.
My grandfather was a physicist for the military.
Wait, Schizophrenic Queen's been trying to say something for
go ahead.
Yeah, I've been trying to say this one thing ever since you guys were talking about kids.
Shut up. I love you. No, I love you.
Okay, I was going to tell you to suck my dick, but now you're exempt.
I'll suck your clit.
No, my dick.
Twinkie.
You don't have nose. Talk. Sorry, talk.
Okay. I was gonna say, with the whole kids thing, it's like I have all these mixed feelings about whether or not I would want to have kids, because it's like, on the one side, I think maybe if I was pregnant, I'd be even more psychotic, or maybe if I was pregnant, it would mellow me out, because like, even though I'm doing better here, I have ended up crying in so many people's offices that it is fucking ridiculous. Like, I just get so anxious and I just start bawling in people's offices, and I'm like, I can't do this. It's so embarrassing and shit. Like, why am I crying in the Vogue Rehab lady's office? Why am I crying in my therapist's office? And a lot of that was due to the whole isolation of being in Kansas, because when I was in Kansas, I was very isolated.
Just a sec. I visit a counselor every week. And this past week, we had one of the best conversations I've ever had. And what it boiled down to was I realized that a lot of people don't really understand that they aren't actually able to express the things that they're thinking inside of their head. They keep it inside. And it probably harms them to the point where if you see somebody who's snapping at everybody, it's because they have something on their mind that they're not able to talk about.
Which is something my girl would never understand.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that for okay. But I realized, he was saying, when do you think, I was saying, when do you think I'll be done with this? And he goes, whenever you're done. I mean, you pay, you come here. And then he said, this provides a place where you can sit here and say all of the dumbass shit that's in your head, or something that's really been on your mind you want to talk about. And I realized, if everybody were to just be able to convey the feelings that they're having to others without feeling that they're going to be judged, I think life would be a lot better for everyone. But we're not able to do that. Because if you were to just walk up to somebody and say, I can't think of anything crazy right now. Like, man, I really wanted to smash some guy's door in for fucking, cutting me off the other day, but I didn't do it because I know that's wrong. Or, you know what I mean? Or at least express to that person how angry you were because they cut you off in traffic.
That's called life.
Yeah, that's what I mean, but you can't do that normally. You can't just, pull up beside somebody and say, you cut me off back there, that pissed me off, and I really want to punch your fucking head in. And
if everybody acted out their desires, we would all be called psychopaths.
There was a great movie in the 80s called Impulse, where a chemical leaks into the water supply of a small town, and what that chemical does is it turns off your impulse control, and the people went fucking crazy.
Are you calling it Aaron Brockovich?
No, it was called Impulse.
No, I mean, is that Aaron Brockovich story?
No. It's not true. It's not a true story. It's a fictional story.
Oh, okay. I didn't understand what you're saying.
Before I ran off on the tangent about how I cry all the time and I'm a total pansy wuss, I have a hard time expressing myself too, because it's like, I feel like I'm such a loser. And I feel like I don't deserve certain things. Like, I don't, and if I express certain things, then it's I have this really weird perception that like everything is sort of like scripted, and the only reason I'm not doing so well in life is that I'm not getting the script right. But going back to the whole thing on kids, it's like I don't even I don't know how a pregnancy would affect my mental state.
Mhm.
Secondly, my genetics suck. And thirdly, I think having a child at all would be just terrible anxiety, because you think of all the things that could happen to you. Like, I tend to think about a lot of the things that could go wrong or could happen to me, and then if I had to think about that also for another person entirely, I think I would just lose it.
I think that what happens with some people is that they stop worrying about themselves and they start worrying about their kids. They
I
stop.
think if
That can cause stress as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
I'm
Not
just
it. No
worried
one
that
knows. No one knows how they're going to react to pregnancy. Everyone. The people who believe what's sold to them believe that it's a wonderful, fantastic time and no one has problems with it. I can tell you right now, everyone that I've met that has gotten pregnant all have different reactions to being pregnant.
Pregnancy, even though it is evolutionary necessary, it is an extremely excruciating process for every woman who has gone through it.
Yeah, my ex had quite a time. My daughter was born a month early. Yeah. Well, my ex just had high blood pressure through the whole thing, so she didn't go the full 9 months. And when her water broke and she was ready to go, it was a month early, and I was in Boston at the time, so I was 50 miles away, and I had to drive all the way there for them to tell me that they want to do a stitch to hold it back together, and my ex's her blood pressure was like, what's normal, 180 over what is it,
120 over 80.
120 over 80. It was 200 over 100, something like that.
Oh my God.
And they wouldn't, and we had to argue, and we're like, look, can the baby survive on its own outside? And they were like, yes, and we're like, well, then let's get her out. So, and it took us arguing with them and them trying to say they were saying we were bad parents. They were going to do they tried to file
She was religious at the time, right?
My ex was never religious.
Oh, okay.
No. These were the nurses, the care nurses. They were saying that I'm
just trying to understand the context of it.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not explaining well. I mean, I could do this as a video, but they were trying to say that if we forced her to give birth now, they would file a 51A against my ex for being an unfit parent. And she was in danger, and they were arguing with us. And then the doctor came in, the surgeon, and the OBG surgeon. She said, no, that baby's got to come out. And the fucking nurse filed it anyway. So my daughter when she was born, she couldn't breathe on her own. And my ex could not stay in that ward with her, because they did this stupid legal shit, but they couldn't keep me out. So I ended up staying in the ward with my daughter for a few days. And there were women in there who were ready to give birth, walking around going, "Why is a man in here?"
Was she in an incubation chamber then?
No, it was.
Yeah, did she go into the air chamber?
It was difficulty breathing, but I was able to hold her quite a bit, and she was in that, and but they had to tube feed her. And it was me basically being a dad where my ex couldn't be there for a few days, almost a week, in there with her, and women walking around and going, "What's he doing here?" Like, this is our place, and I was just like, the nurse, I talked to the nurses about it, and they were like, "Listen, men do this all the time, and the thing is, all the pregnant women say the same thing. Ignore them. You're here for your daughter." And after a week and a couple arguments with a lawyer, the lady retracted the 51A, and we were able to take her home.
In other words, the hospital had a talking to her. The hospital will intervene, and they say, "We don't want to be opened up to a lawsuit. Drop it now."
Yeah, I told them immediately. I'm calling my lawyer, and this will be over very quickly because
American hospitals are so novel.
yeah, aren't they? Now this is what I mean when I say when I told my deconversion story, it's a drop in the bucket. It's a lot, but it's also a drop in the bucket. I have
Well, I mean
stories
that's
of the
that's
yang.
life, though. I mean, you can't tell every single
Yeah.
obstacle you've ever had to overcome.
Right.
Yeah, and plus that had nothing to do with deconversion. That was me being angry at a lot of hospital folk.
Mm-hmm.
And a nurse that we actually bumped into a couple of years later. You know, my daughter was toddling around a restaurant, and she stood up and she was like, "Hi," like we're best friends, and I'm like, "Get the fuck out." I picked my daughter up and walked away without saying a word. I'm like, "Get the fuck out of my face." These people think they're so powerful. You know, look how quickly it was taken away from you. You know?
Yeah.
Now I'm venting. I'm venting about something that
No,
happened
it's
7
cool.
years ago.
I could vent about stuff. I mean,
Go ahead.
let's talk about being angry at doctors. When I was living in Kansas, when I was trying to get
Wait,
treatment,
where do you live now?
I live in Montana now.
Still not a Canadian? What the fuck is wrong with you?
I'm almost Canadian.
Close,
But,
close.
She needs to come to
I
the
am a
Cheez-Its.
Canadian by heart, but not by proximity.
Jason,
I wonder if I'm a
if
true
you
Canadian.
never said where you were from, I would believe Jason was a Canadian.
Oh, thank you. That's the most flattering thing anyone has ever said to me.
Oh, I've never had
that
a
is
comment like
that is the nicest thing a Canadian can say to somebody.
That is very.
But,
I really
Hey, you're
appreciate
Canadian,
that.
eh? Yeah?
I think it's the politeness that does me in.
I would believe Atticus was a Canadian if he hadn't struggled with his sexuality for so long.
Oh.
but like with the whole being
Well, here it's totally different. Sorry, go ahead.
when it comes to being frustrated with hospitals. Now, the way the VA healthcare system works is you have to go through your clinic and you can't just go to the main hospital unless you're going into the emergency room, I guess. But the thing is, I was 2 hours away from the VA hospital. I'm not going to drive
I
2
remember you
hours to
telling
go
me
to the
that.
emergency
It's
room.
fucking ridiculous.
But there was one instance where I was having difficulty breathing, and I called the Parsons VA, and they diagnosed me over the phone with a chest cold. And they were like, "Oh, well, there's nothing we can do about it." And I had to go to the emergency room later. I think it was like the next day because I still was having so much trouble breathing. They said I had bronchitis, and if I'd have waited much longer, I would have ended up with full-blown pneumonia. And
That's a telephone diagnosis?
yes, I was diagnosed over the phone at least
Jesus
twice,
Christ.
possibly.
Now I will say this. I will say I will say this right now. I support the idea of socialized medicine, but the thing that scares me about it is that the system that the government would come up with would be modeled after the VA system.
Obama has the right idea, but I think it will take a body of like-minded people to come up
It's
with
Mitt
an
Romney's
idea.
idea originally.
No, you know what's funny?
Governor.
You know what's funny is that my girl and I are both horse people. I ride horses.
Oh,
but
good. I thought you meant you were centaurs.
No, my
But, you gotta make him into the character into a centaur at some point.
Conan O'Brien at that inaugural ball or whatever the fuck it's called, he said that, ironically, like as a joke, he said he wanted to vote for the person whose horse danced in the Olympics. I thought that was the funniest thing I ever heard. But no, that is such a backwards form of thinking to me, to be honest. No, sorry. No, sorry. Go ahead. Finish with your story, and then I'll tell you what I was thinking.
Oh, well, basically, here's the thing. When I was in the hospital with Ariel, there was a very nice British child who was undergoing therapy with her mother. And I got talking with the mother, see her down. You see someone all the time. You go downstairs, you meet in the cafeteria, you talk all the time. And she was from London. And they were getting treatment that was not available in England. She didn't pay for anything. The British healthcare system paid for her flight, her hotel, and the treatment in the United States, which wasn't going to be cheap. If we could get that kind of service here in the United States, I would be pushing for it hardcore. But unfortunately, with the way this country works when it comes to the health and well-being of its citizens, we would get shit. We would get the worst socialized medicine program that you could
You would
possibly
get
think of.
diagnosed over the phone with a period.
Here's
Yeah,
the
you
thing
would-
about here's the thing about Canada, is that every single person is equal except for in Quebec where they have a dual system. Every single person is equal. It doesn't matter if you're a bajillionaire or if you're not worth a penny.
Mm-hmm.
Your queue in the system is the same. Now, you might get bumped forward, you might get bumped back. It happens. But the fact is that our system of healthcare means that everybody is treated exactly equally. Now, some people like Glenn Beck have pointed out there's a lottery system. I haven't seen that in practice. I've seen people point out that there's a lottery system. That's not entirely true. What happens is that priority surgeries get bumped first, and then surgeries that are not priority get bumped back. That's the problem. Now, people who want to get bumped forward, they have to go to Quebec and they have to pay extra, or they have to go to the States and pay extra. I understand
I
that.
hate to tell you that they do the same thing here,
Right,
except you
right.
pay for it.
Right,
Either way.
exactly. But you know what? It doesn't matter. If you're not worth anything, you get surgery. Now, my aunt, she is a nurse, and she has traveled around the world with the Doctors Without Borders and other surgery systems. And she has had to turn down people that deserved treatment but couldn't afford it. And she couldn't handle it emotionally. She had to come back here to Canada because of the way that we do things. We never turn away anybody, no matter what. But in the States, she had to call cabs and pretend
turn
to be
people away. Yeah.
and turn people away and give them cabs and send them across town so that they could never make it back to
County.
the hospital.
Yeah, to go to county or go somewhere else, but you can't come here.
Right? She couldn't handle that emotionally.
Here's and I honestly believe this, that in areas where there is socialized medicine, people live longer and they're healthier, and the main reason, and I always use this example, is that in the United States, when you look at the back of your hand and you see something there that you hadn't seen before, you go, if I go into the doctor, it's going to cost me money. Even if I have insurance, it's going to cost me money.
It costs us nothing. Nothing. We don't pay a penny.
I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to ignore it. And 5 years later, the spot is bigger. And now I have pain in my arm. But I can't really go in. I can't miss work because I'll get fired or whatever. And I'll just ignore it. 10 years down the road, you have full-blown cancer. In Europe, when you go, oh, I got a spot on my hand, you go see the doctor. And they take it off, and then they wave goodbye. That's it. That's the
Canada.
difference between
That's
Canada. That's
Canada.
any place that has socialized medicine.
You know what?
That's why they have longer lifespans than we
I
do.
hate our weather here, and if I had to live in a paradise, it would be Arizona, because that would be the best place for my horse and I to live forever. Except your fucking healthcare system is the shittiest healthcare system in the world. I'd rather live in Kenya.
If you were really close to the Canadian border and you were visiting the United States, and you...
I am, by the way, I'm bordered with the American...
If you fell off your horse and they said, we need to take you to a hospital, would you go across the border to a Canadian hospital or get treatment in the U.S.?
How severe is the injury, to be honest?
You don't know.
If I don't know, I'd go to Canadian.
Yeah, see? I've actually heard stories of people who, Canadians who come to the United States and get injured, and then they get the bill from the hospital for all of their treatment. This is the first hospital bill they've ever seen in their life.
That's why we always get Blue Cross before we cross the border.
That's smart. That's really good.
No,
and
we
it's
as Canadians understand that outside of our little largest border in the universe, we actually do have the largest border on Earth, but it's not exactly a bragging point because our border is so jagged.
Yeah.
But outside of our border, we realize that the rest of the world doesn't function under our rules.
No.
So we understand that as soon as we leave our border, our healthcare is not covered in any way. So we get Blue Cross before we even consider crossing the border.
You know,
And
I think that the main
even for my horse, I have insurance for my horse, so I know that if I ever go into the States with my horse, then insurance will cover it one way or another.
Do you have someone who cares for your horse? Because that's
that's
a heavy time investment.
I pay for core. I care. I haven't.
Now, are you Western? Are you Western? Or are you just dressage?
No, I'm English in my.
Oh, English. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I do what's I never actually wanted to discuss the type of horsemanship that I'm actually a part of.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's because I find it kind of poppycock. But the type of horsemanship I do is called English, and there's actually like probably probably close to like 10 different types of English horsemanship.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do is called 3-day eventing.
Okay.
Now,
the reason I brought dressage up is because it sounded like you competed, and I had a girlfriend that did dressage for a while, and so.
What 3-day eventing is it's perfect for people who can't figure out what they want to do. So what I do a little bit of dressage, which is the worst part. I hate it. I hate it. But it allows me to do other different types of events, which includes hunter jumper, showman jumping, and cross country, which are all different types of jumping.
Mm-hmm.
So what a 3-day eventer is somebody who wants to partake in everything, but doesn't really want to label themselves as one individual thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoy the cross country. That's my favorite part. And dressage is my least favorite part.
Yeah, it's been so long since I went riding, and I've never owned a horse, but trained in Western, just basic, nothing fancy.
You know what? Without going into it, all I'll say
never
is
ridden a horse ever.
Yeah, all I'll say is the difference between Western and English is the difference between a cruiser motorcycle and a sport motorcycle.
I've heard that. That's what I've heard.
So I've chosen the sport motorcycle.
Yeah.
I'm sport.
And here's the thing: when I rode a motorcycle, I rode a cruiser.
Right. So I mean, you're Western guy as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I'm in California. What else was I gonna learn?
No, exactly. You know what? Which is funny in the movie. What's it called? Not Secretariat. The other guy. Oh man, I'm so.
Oh, Seabiscuit.
Seabiscuit, perfect. You know, in Seabiscuit, when Seabiscuit was a tiny little horse with a giant jockey, and to make fun of him, the racer guy would say, "Oh, well, he's from the West. Does he ride a Western saddle?"
Yeah, Western saddle.
Which is like a huge insult.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's obviously not true.
Well,
but,
Western was more like if you're going on a long trip with a horse, you wanted something. No saddle is going to be comfortable after a couple of days of riding. But
if I was going to travel 200 or 300 miles on a horse, I would want a Western saddle.
Yeah.
But I travel like 100 kilometers maximum on a horse within a 1-day period. You know, English is the way to go. If you want to do anything but go across a flat land without any obstacles or jumps, you want a Western saddle. But if you are a semi-fit guy or girl, like my girl is a super fit person, if you want to do anything but go across a flat plain, just riding a horse like it's a vehicle, you want an English saddle because you want to be able to go out over obstacles and you want to be able to travel the terrain like you're on a sport.
Well, you use your legs more, don't you? You use your legs more.
You know what? Here's the joke that a lot of people who don't ride horses like to say. It's that you're not an athlete if you ride a horse, and the horse is the
That's not
athlete.
true at all.
No, you probably burn more calories than the horse does riding.
There is no such thing as riding letting the horse do all the work when you're riding.
No, even if the horse is just full out galloping for like
oh my God.
for like 5 kilometers, I guarantee you are burning more calories than a
You
horse is.
feel it in your thighs and in your hips all the way down if you're doing it right.
No, I'm by no means like a perfectly fit or chiseled guy,
Yeah.
but I am more fit than my horse is.
The last time I went out, they keep giving me older trail lead horses. You know, the ones that will lead a team. That will, when they take them out, this will be the lead horse.
Which is perfect for a person who's never ridden before or doesn't have a lot of experience.
And I would keep saying, I'm intermediate level. I know how to lead a horse around. I know how to. And they're like, no. And the problem was the last time I went out, I was out for the most part by myself. There were like 2 other people, but this horse first tried to brush me off, which I didn't appreciate. But then, way off, it heard another horse whinny. And it turned out this other horse didn't want to cross a stream, and the guy wanted to get across, and the horse objected, so it made some noise. This horse whips around and bolts to the other horse.
Horses are more social than humans are, by the way.
But I had almost no warning, and I didn't get up into the strips, and I am trying to get him to stop. And after a couple of times, I'm like, okay, fine, we're going where we're gonna go. And holy shit, I was like, I'm done with you. And the horse was not listening to a word I had to say. It wasn't paying attention to any of my commands. And finally, a person from the stable comes riding up and going, "Oh, is it funny? That horse has never done that before." And I'm like, "I'm gonna trade with you right now because I can't. This horse and I are disagreeing with everything. People who say that horses don't have personalities or they're all a little crazy, that is not true. Because I've ridden great horses."
You know what? I'm gonna shut up after I finish this last thought.
Okay, all right.
Because I want to hear from Queenie. Because
Yeah.
I love her. She's my wife from another mother.
Okay.
I would hope that your wife is from another mother.
Oh, you're not Canadian then, because we're allowed to marry our first cousins here.
We're allowed to do that in the United States. It's just taboo.
Some parts, yeah.
Oh, it's taboo here. Fuck. Shit. Anyways, Queenie, continue, and I'll mention my last thought later.
You were gonna say something.
Who was? I was?
No.
I'm a skeptic. He was all like, "My wife from another mother," and then it's like, "Okay, Queenie, say something," and I was like, I didn't know I was gonna say anything. I'm really timid. Like, I can't do. Like, I'm not authoritative enough to ride horses. I went on this horseback riding trip in Australia, and let me tell you, this horse was like one of those horses they give to like really beginner people. This horse was like, whatever, and it tried to brush me off on a tree, like it was rubbing against trees and stuff to try to knock me off. And
that's their way of telling you they really don't want to be doing what they're doing.
That's usually the behavior of a pony. There's lots of different styles of horse, and a pony is usually the smartest and most asshole-ish of horses. Anyways, the point I was going to say before I was going to pass the baton on was that I know a lot of people have been tossing around the idea of Patreon lately. Even the most morally subjective people on YouTube have been saying, "Oh, I'm the most moral person. Support me on Patreon."
If you have to say it, you aren't it. That's the thing. If you have to tell people what you are.
Here's the thing, is that I could certainly use the support on Patreon, but I feel like really dirty asking people for support on Patreon. But
welcome to the club.
Here's the thing, though, is I have the subscriber base to actually get something out of it now. So I'm now forced to consider alienating a certain percentage of my my subscriber base by saying that, hey, I'm on Patreon now. I have actually had a Patreon account for over a month now, but I have not made it public. I don't want anybody to know about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had a significant amount of people actually say that they're willing to support me on Patreon.
I'm going through the same thing. I've fought that for a long time about,
Here's the thing, though. I own a horse. Most people consider people who own horses as rich, elitist assholes.
But those people are uninformed.
I didn't think that.
Here's the thing: do you know what I have to do to support a horse? I have to give up every other luxury. Mm-hmm. I am not a rich person like most horse owners are. I actually have to give up having a nice vehicle. I have to give up having nice things. I don't have a nice TV. I don't have a nice television. I actually don't have anything that's nice. I don't even have a super nice girl. Don't tell her that.
When I was doing 411, there was a woman that would come in riding clothes, and she had an Arabian that she stabled that was about 45 minutes away from the office, and she would work split shifts, and she would get up in the morning, drive from San Francisco down to the stable down in San Mateo, water, feed, brush, care for the horse, go to work for 4 hours, turn around on her split shift, go back down to San Mateo, do all the stuff that she needed to do in the afternoon, come back to work another 4 hours, go back down to San Mateo again, make sure that so she could get her riding in, the horse got its exercise, so that it got brushed again, watered, fed, put to bed, and then she would go home at like 11 o'clock at night or something like that.
That's the boat I'm in. Actually, 25% of my pay goes towards commute between where I live and where my horse is.
My heart goes,
25% of my pay goes to just being with my horse. Not riding him, not tacking him, not being with him, just being able to get to him.
Yeah. When I was doing animal care work in Santa Cruz, we would all the time, the trailer would come up, and those were hard days because what would happen is you would have people who have plots of land out in Santa Cruz who would get horses, and then without knowing the cost and the amount of time involved, and these horses would show up and they're half starved, their ribs are showing through. They've been abandoned. They'll put them in their hitch, and they'll take them out to a field that's open, and they'll just let them go. And of course, these horses don't know necessarily how to take care of themselves, and they're just wandering around.
Domestic horses can't take care of themselves. They need a person.
And we would get these horses that were not just starved for food; they were starved for attention. I remember distinctly going out because the Santa Cruz SPCA had a backlot and large enough for livestock. Because this happened a lot, not just with horses, but with cows and other animals, that people just underestimated what it would take to care for an animal of that size properly. And this horse just would come up and press its head into my back, and didn't want anything else other than just some contact with another person.
That's my horse.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, people usually associate horse owners with elitists. And I feel like I'd alienate a large percentage, if not the entirety, of my subscriber base if I asked for any kind of support outside of just the advertisements that are associated with my account.
I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to make anything through those. I've been doing that for a long time, and I have not made a dime. And I've been struggling with the same thing about.
What kind of thing? You mean like your merch store?
Through AdSense and through the merch store. But here's the thing: I put the merch store up not to make money. I put the merch store up because people asked, "Do you have T-shirts?"
Yeah,
if no one had asked if there was any,
I have AdSense, and I have not made back the amount of money I've put into my account so far.
Yeah. Yeah, neither have I.
I'm not going to say the dollar amount, but I've spent more than I've made back.
I mean, I'm doing this because I love it, but there are things that I want to do with the channel, and believe me, I know that there are going to be people who are going to complain
if I open a Patreon account and say, guys, this cost me money.
Is that why you hate me so much? Is because I have double your subscribership in a fraction of the time?
Do you have double my subscribership?
Yeah, no, I have more than double now.
Do you really?
Yeah, more than double. I'm not going to tell you the number. Don't look, because you actually pull the trigger. I don't want to do it.
I know why you have double.
You know why? Is because I create my account for entertainment, not for education. But the fact is that I actually educate people, and they seem to like it.
I was going to say because your videos are awesome.
No,
and
fuck
yeah,
that.
No, that's exactly everything to do with it.
Yes, they are.
I hate my videos. I hate watching them.
Well, that's why they're good. Here's the thing: people who think their work is great produce crap.
No, I
9
produce
times
crap.
out of 10.
I produce crap. No, I'm serious. I hate watching my videos.
Then I love your crap.
I hate my videos.
I love your crap. I love watching your crap.
I think your videos, all three of your videos are a bajillion times better than any of my videos.
You're making
Dude, I shaved in front of a mirror and put some clothes on.
Yeah,
That's what I did.
That was super sexy. No, that was sexy.
Like, literally what I do is goof off in front of a camera and then post it. Like, your videos are way better than mine.
Oh, by the way, I didn't comment on your last video, but I agree he does not have the right to your body.
Oh, I just thought that was like a general thing because people are like, oh, if you didn't want this to happen, ladies, you should just put out, like, think of the little guy.
That isn't a hostage situation.
Here's the thing
is me or I'll kill someone.
He didn't bother looking for anyone.
Here's the problem, is that Americans have a lot of issues, and gun rights is one of them. And this last guy has thrown a lot of gears into a lot of wrenches.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, people are having problems labeling what happened, and this is gonna be a debate that goes on for decades about why this guy did what he did.
Well, here's something that a lot of people aren't talking about, and I hate to say this, but it is true. He was 5'2". And a lot of people are saying he was a handsome guy. I don't understand. Number one, he was 5'2". Number two, anyone who walks in acting as if he deserves that he has a sense of that he has something that's supposed to be coming to him.
Entitlement.
Yeah, a sense of entitlement. That is a turnoff. I have noticed a lot is a lot of these people who are saying women are this and women are that and women blah blah blah. They don't have women. And the guys who do have women, they call them pussies because they think that they can't accept the fact that the guys who have women are doing something right and they're doing something wrong.
I'm surprised with the series of probably 5 to 10 last comments I've made on other videos based on this issue that I've not lost half my subscribership because of it. Because what I've pointed out is the facts. The facts are that half the people are saying, oh, he was a misogynist, period. Mm-hmm. That's not the issue. Half the other people are saying, oh, well, it was other men that were making him feel inferior, period. Mm-hmm. That's not the issue. What I'm saying is there's more to it than that.
Yeah.
And everybody has disagreed with the comments I've made on these so far. And so far I've received nothing but positive feedback, and I don't understand because, not that I'm saying other people are stupid, but people have a tendency to label things and then wash the hands of the situation after they label it.
Yeah.
And
on both sides, on all sides of the argument, everyone
which is why I declare myself an independent. I won't call myself a feminist, and I won't call myself a men's rights activist. I will call myself an independent in every sense of the word.
Would you call yourself a humanist?
Oh, well,
I like that. I like humanist.
I want to say that because but the problem is that there's been baggage added to that too that's non-skeptical.
Yeah.
Who
added the baggage?
There's non-skeptical baggage that's been added to that. I want to call myself a skeptic and a realist. If if I see something as realist and skeptical, I will say that's what I believe. But the problem is, every time I try to beat to somebody else's drum, I find that there's one little tiny contentious point that I will not agree with. So the thing is, labels I find are only detrimental to the point that I'm trying to make. So I refuse to take any kind of label, because every time I try to make a point and somebody asks what I am, they'll automatically put a belief system behind the label that I'll say. So I've just completely rejected the idea of labels altogether.
Well, there's
And
a loss of nuance. People want labels so they can readily identify you.
And that's the problem with humanity, is that humanity has dumbed themselves down to the idea of labels, and I refuse to conform to the idea that a label completely identifies who you really are as a person. I believe that equality is important across every single board, but I think that this entire latest issue with the guy that killed people in California does not qualify as a reason for any person behind any label to try to press their political or social beliefs upon anybody. And the problem that I've seen is that people have taken the emotional baggage behind this latest issue to try to press their latest or their personal beliefs, and I think that is disingenuous and dishonest in every single personal way. I believe that this is an isolated issue and that there's a lot of nuances behind it. And I don't think that any label, any kind of person like a feminist or an MRA or anything in between should take this issue and try to press their personal beliefs. I think this is an issue where we should be thinking about ourselves. We should look at this and reflect upon ourselves, reflect upon our own personal beliefs, and think to ourselves, maybe we should be thinking about what kind of rabbit holes we're allowing ourselves to go down, and to see if we are allowing ourselves to go down the kind of rabbit hole that this guy went down to go where he is, and see if we as a society are doing something wrong and try to better ourselves as a society. We shouldn't be saying, oh, feminists are wrong. We shouldn't say, oh, MRAs are wrong. We should just say, oh, this guy has pointed out something that, there's something wrong with us as a society if we allow somebody like this to get to the point where he can kill so many people without us checking something out about it. And I think that he's an example of what we as a society are doing wrong. Not as what feminists are doing wrong or what MRAs are doing wrong or anything in between. We should be saying, what am I doing wrong that this happened?
Mm-hmm. But we're not. The U.S. is not a country of personal responsibility. That's the thing.
And that is the biggest problem.
We're a nation of finger pointers.
That is the biggest problem I have with your fucking country, which is why my impression of United States people is so hypocritical. Which is why my impression of people, these guys, fuck these guys. That impression I can't do it. I'm too drunk right now. But, which is why it was so insulting to you as Americans, is because I think that you people, as a people, are the worst thing to happen to the world since the Roman Empire. You're worse than you're actually worse than the Roman Empire, because the Roman Empire didn't even know the rest of the world existed. You know the rest of the world existed, and you're trying to oppress your beliefs on other people, and you are fucked up for doing that. I'm not saying you personally, but your nation is.
There are ideologies in the United States that I think have gone too far.
Creationism?
Number one, no, creationism. Number one, individuality. We pride ourselves on the idea that a person should be able to, that the idea that a person, if you work hard enough and you do what you need to do, you can make it, and if you don't make it, well, that's your fault. Society owes nothing to you. You do not need a handout. Blah, blah, blah. The other one is that we're a deeply paranoid society. We're extraordinarily paranoid about a lot of things. And some of that has to do with TV culture that we have in this country. We originated, if it bleeds, it leads. So the news that we watch every night is usually about trivial stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with our personal lives. It's usually a man went crazy today and killed 19 people, and we're going to do an expose where we actually offer little insight and just reveal gruesome things that make you scared. We literally have newscasts that have little teasers during the programs that say, find out how this common household object could kill you. More at 11. They use it for ratings. And then the people go, oh my God, I got to find out what that thing is that's going to kill me. I actually wrote a play about 10 years ago in which a news station that was flagging in the ratings decided that it was going to fake a serial killer escaping from a mental hospital and murdering people as the newscast progresses. But as it turns out, the news producer actually released a real mental patient and was actually murdering everyone on the newscast because the ratings kept going up higher and higher and higher because all of their related news stories were also these paranoid news things, and they would have this these ridiculous stories that some of the headlines I just pulled right out of local news. Almost all of our news is like that now, where it's where we hear about a woman kills her children, or another guy goes on a kill crazy rampage, and all we ever are exposed to in our news is violence, and you need to be afraid, and oh my God, things are terrible, and the inner city, and gangs and everything else. We're a society that is reaching a kind of critical mass where it comes to paranoia, narcissism, individuality, and rampant capitalism, and our government is completely corrupt, top to bottom, and no one seems to want to do anything about it. There are some people who are complaining, and they know that something's wrong, but nothing changes. Everything kind of stays the same so long as people have television and alcohol and sports. No one seems to want to change anything, and everyone has forgotten that the original American dream, which was to have a modest house and to have happy, healthy children, and to be able to retire, that's going away very quickly. And no one seems to care because they've been fed this bullshit, get rich quick, be thin bullshit. And I'll be the first person to admit, I live in this country, but I don't know if I love it anymore. And I've both my wife and I have both said, how in the hell do we move to Canada? We've both openly said it, and not joking. It's like, how can we get Canadian citizenship? And there are a lot of rules about becoming a Canadian citizen, and that's I think you have to have a job or something like that. I don't remember what it is, but I'm not going to disagree with you. We have overextended our power, and we have been detrimental to a number of other countries as far as what we've done to them in order to make ourselves fatter or richer, or just to have cheap gas or cheap groceries. And what we're doing is not sustainable.
That was an excellent rant.
Yes.
It's the kind of rant that I can't really do on my channel.
Well, now you can cut this up. You just did.
I can cut this up, and I'll have one of my puppets do it.
Yeah. I was going to say that's why one of the worst things that I've seen on TV lately is the idea of prosperity Christianity.
Yeah.
And that makes it all the worse, is because not only are they doing it with religion, but then they're taking the American dream and mixing it in there.
Oh,
And
I
Jason,
will tell you this much. Yeah.
your latest puppet, the guy that looks like Fozzie Bear, what was the inspiration behind him?
Skylar?
The kid, yeah.
The little kid?
Yeah,
I needed a
and
little
why
kid.
have we not seen him since that first video?
I
he was
have to come up with
operating?
ways to... certain puppets fill certain needs. And I needed a little kid puppet for that specific episode
It was
to be about
such
a
a
commentary
weird.
about.
It was such a weird episode, though.
It is a weird episode.
It almost seemed like he was shoehorned into it, though. Did you not have like a perfect idea for him to be in?
I wanted to do the episode about responsibility, about how whose responsibility is it? A parent's responsibility, or is the kid, or is it your own personal responsibility,
Okay.
even if it's not your children?
That makes sense. Yeah.
And I needed a kid puppet in there. I'll
Let's-
probably utilize him for something that's related later. But it's kind of
is
like
is that the one where you don't want people to the two ones are talking about sex in front of the kid?
yeah,
Yeah,
they've been
okay.
talking about
That was
sex.
And they don't know that it's actually a kid.
There was
Well,
only
yeah, they thought it was.
there was
I
only
broke-
two other puppets in that scene too.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why it was also kind of different, because Fundy wasn't in it and AJ wasn't in it.
No, and by the way, I agree with you. Your freedom of speech. Well, I don't know if you felt that way or you were just asking the question. But yes, I think that when there are children in the room, your freedom of speech is automatically.
I know
limited.
how. Here's the thing. I know how I am. I don't pretend that the way I do things is the way other people are supposed to do things.
Mhm.
You know, I don't pretend. Okay, I know me. If there's a kid in the room, I'm not going to be talking about explicit sex or things.
Which is why I respect you so much, because the one thing about your puppets is you show that you don't judge people based on their belief system.
I really try not to.
Other than the fact that they're either an MRA or a Holocaust denier.
I draw the line when
something
things
about
go
that
past.
Something about that one puppet with the unibrow, you seem to hate everything about him.
Cleghorn.
Yeah, Cleghorn.
Who's in this one?
Yeah, exactly. You seem to hate everything about him. I mean,
He's not the only one. Remember when you said that if I had a conservative Christian puppet? I do have one. It's Reverend Pone.
yeah, the thing is, you seem to tolerate everybody, but the ideas from that one puppet with the unibrow.
I have a line when it comes to, like I said, when people lie to try to support their point. And when
Agreed.
when I see that, I can discount everything that they have to say, and I don't have to listen to a word that they have to say, because when they have to start fabricating bullshit, and when someone says something as dumb as this, women control everything in the United States.
Fuck
That
no.
person does not live in a reality that I need to respect.
Here's the thing I will say about MRAs, is that there are moderate MRAs that have actually come up with really good points.
Mm-hmm.
I will give them that much, and you know what?
I got blowback for when I did the original one with the MRA episode, and I did say that there are issues in the MRA movement that I completely agree with.
I will bet. You know what? The Justicar is the seems to be the headliner of the MRA movement right now. The Justicar is actually a super brilliant, super genius, homosexual super genius. And here's the thing about him is a lot of the things he says are completely right. But the problem I have with the Justicar, and I have problems saying this because he's actually shouted me out, which has created a lot of internal issues with me and my belief system. Because I have a lot of things where I feel like I'm in contention with the Justicar because he shouted me out. Is he has problems seeing things from other people's perspectives.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Now, the Justicar is a super, even though he is homosexual, which, no offense, finite, it is pretty much understood that homosexuals are not conservative. Not to say that they're
true.
Not to say that they're
Funny. Come on. No, I'm kidding.
not to say that they're liberal all the time, but that they're not ultra conservative. The Justicar seems to have this belief that the law is always right, and he seems to adhere to the constitutional law.
Well, I believe he was a police officer, right?
Yeah, exactly. He's a retired. He's identified as a retired police officer, and I've actually made fun of him on a couple of occasions saying that he's retired from the police to join the semantic police.
Mm-hmm.
And even after saying that, he still shouted me out. So I mean, he still has some credibility. He's still, you know, a human being. But the problem I have with him is sometimes he just refuses to see things from other people's perspectives. Now, I will admit there are radical feminists out there who actually want to see the destruction of males.
Yes.
And he's actually linked me to these people when I said, "Come on, feminists don't believe this." And I've had to say, "Oh, I stand corrected." There are women out there that say that males should be destroyed to the point where at least humanity can sustain itself. However, he stands to the point of the law and to the point of the Constitution, even if the reasonability of it does not stand up to the reasonability of logic.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And I love the
hey
guy.
guys,
I love the guy, but that is the one contention I have with him.
I gotta bow out. I have to go bring my daughter to a softball game in the morning. Okay?
Oh, yeah, it's midnight, guys.
It's 3:07 actually here. So.
Well, okay, it's midnight for me. It's 3:07. I didn't check my handy watch. Jesus, yeah, it is.
You had that. You showed us that in the beginning, and you didn't use it once. That's all right. I've had a great time tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad we did
It was
it.
nice getting to talk to you.
Yeah, me too. Finite. If you have anything left to say before you bow out, please say it now.
No, I don't. I'm cool.
Okay, I love you, brother.
All right, I love you guys too.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This was unplanned and unprompted, but there you go.
Unscripted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep that rant, Jason. Keep that rant.
We'll see. Bye, everybody.